We're live though.
Okay.
Okay.
Good morning, Brian. Welcome
Good morning.
to, I think it's your Saturday.
Yes, it's Saturday morning.
That's
And I
lovely.
can hear myself playing out into the airwaves somewhere.
Cool. And you can hear
know
me
where.
because that was a questionable moment that we just had before you press the space bar.
Okay.
Hello,
yes.
people who may or may not be watching.
Oh my goodness, this is going sideways.
No.
Yeah, how are you? Are you good?
I'm good. It's 3 p.m. here, and I've done some lovely gardening today. And my son went for his first day of work at the Boulder bookstore, so that's really exciting.
Okay.
We love
Nice.
local biz. And yeah, what have I been doing? Not a ton of anything. Like slow rolling.
Well, I've been like playing with toys for the last few days. I have something that I'm keeping under wraps, but I feel like I'm just telling you.
Playing with toys. Tell me more.
Well, first of all, yeah, I scored a second turntable. I've completely lost you. I have no idea where you went.
Oh, I'm here. I see me.
I know. I don't see you. But it doesn't mean that you're not here. It's just, where the heck are you?
You got two turntables, and you do have
And
a
a
microphone.
Yes, and
you just need your motorbike.
Okay, well, did I tell you this? I told you this story. I already told you this.
Yeah, this is what happens when we're like 14 hours apart. Yes.
I know. Okay, well, yeah, I'm thinking of building a mobile DJ station, which should be a lot of fun. And I'm trying to get it all working so that I'm not like, so that makes sense, I'm trying to like get it so these things, these kids who like your son's age, my kid's age, this stuff is like, it's so second nature to them. And there's like, what an API is? It's like, what is it? I don't even know what it is. It's like application protocol interface, API.
No, fuck no. I am so bad at acronym. I can speak Spanish, English, I can speak poetry, a little Middle English, but I do not speak acronym very well.
Well, it's like something that like our kids think about without really thinking about it. It's like it's like when they're on Minecraft and they're like making their own blocks and they're like coding, but they don't even realize that they're coding.
Yes.
It's a situation a little bit like that. And when you like when you add a chat into YouTube, that's an API. That's two softwares talking to each other, and it's basically they're sending like a, and so
oh my God.
It's not complicated, but it is complicated. And basically they hide all these, wires basically behind a screen that looks just like a web browser to you, but to anybody who made it, it's like a bunch of wires that are connected behind, the curtain. And so, but now everybody's getting real playful with all the wires, the modular synthesizers, and they're all just, and that's
I like your metaphor. I get that. Yeah.
Okay. But what happens sometimes is you completely lose the person who you're trying to talk to, and you're just
this is your like 6 a.m. wires cross metaphor. I get it.
I can't get you back.
Well, on this topic, I feel like this is such a great setup for a poem that I pulled to read today. I thought it'd be cute if we had a little poetry corner.
Please read it. Please.
Okay, and it's really topically on point. This is kind of funny. It'll be interesting to see what you think. But the poem is called 16-bit Intel 8088 chip by Charles Bukowski. So,
oh, really? Okay, I thought this was something of your own. Okay, Bukowski.
No.
Okay.
Let's see how Poetry Corner works before I get wrapping my own shit.
The Poetry Minute here brought to you, ladies and gentlemen, by my dear old friend, Miss Rawson, Miss Andrea.
Miss Rawson.
Miss Rawson is our resident high school teacher. Okay, take it away. I want to hear it. Let's hear it. Bukowski.
Okay, all
What
right.
the title one more time, just because I want to take it in one more time. It's so awesome.
16-bit Intel 8088 chip
Okay, I love
by
it.
Charles Bukowski. With an Apple Macintosh, you can't run Radio Shack programs in its disk drive. Nor can a Commodore 64 read. Oh shit. Let me start over because you got to get the
All right,
flow.
all right. That's
I
okay.
haven't
Go for
practiced
it.
it out loud. This is our podcast. 16-bit Intel 8088 chip by Charles Bukowski. With an Apple Macintosh, you can't run Radio Shack programs in its disk drive, nor can a Commodore 64 drive read a file you have created on an IBM personal computer. Both Kpro and Osborne computers use the CP\M operating system, but can't read each other's handwriting, for they format, write on disks in different ways. The Tandy 2000 runs MS-DOS, but can't use most programs produced for the IBM personal computer unless certain bits and bytes are altered. But the wind still blows over Savannah, and in the spring, the turkey buzzard struts and flounces before his hens.
The end.
Fiend.
That
Fiend.
that was awesome. That was
Isn't
awesome.
that so funny? I have a little research to do. Maybe I'll do it while you're chit chatting about it, but probably based
I want to
on the
comment on.
technology, this has got to be from like 1984 or something like that.
It's still so true. It's still so
Yeah,
appropriate.
it
It's so
speaks to
good.
completely what you're saying about the wires behind the scenes getting crossed.
Read the end
Look,
one more time, man. Read the end one just once more.
from the Tandy or
Yeah,
the
what the, where it went sideways.
okay.
Where it
For
went
they
back to
form
form.
Sure. Okay. Both Kpro and Osborne computers use the CP\M operating system, but can't read each other's handwriting, for they format, write on disks in different ways. The Tandy 2000 runs MS-DOS, but can't use most programs produced for the IBM personal computer unless certain bits and bytes are altered. But the wind still blows over Savannah, and in the spring, the turkey buzzard struts and flounces before his hens.
So good. All I wanted was the very last turkey
and the
vulture.
turkey buzzard.
Yeah. The
All right,
turkey buzzard.
It's not a very
That's...
long poem. I was playing around with Bukowski because we do have some lit nerds in our sort of regular hang peeps. And Bukowski, I love. This is really so not his usual, like dark, sexy, drunk shit, but or like end of the world apocalyptic stuff. But it's so interesting and prophetic. And I think I pulled it because, Phish forming in 1983, right around this time where the internet computers sort of move into homes and computer culture. Here we are, like other side of the globe from each other in real time. Computers have come so far. Phish has come so far in the times that computers have come so far. Just a really interesting sort of double highway situation for tech and Phish.
Yeah, I was thinking about this. I had a chat with our old pal Stacy Ludlow this week, just maybe yesterday or the day before. Yeah,
our days.
And we talked at length about Phish. She was like, I can't come on. I got nothing to talk about. I don't remember anything. And then she went off on.
Yeah, she's like,
she had so much interesting stuff to share. Actually, she said I was at the. I won't steal her thunder, but she had some insight into it all. And we were talking about the Dead and about just how these two bands always get sort of linked up together, even though they're like, she said there was something that jumped out from one of the articles that we read about Apple, comparing them as like comparing apples and oranges. And we were kind of mentioning about how, the Dead have all this poetic lyric genius of Robert Hunter, and John Perry Barlow, and Phish has got, Tweezer and Call Me the Sloth, and and all kinds of great stuff. The Squirming Coil, and but you
Squirming
won't find
Coil has
exactly.
some great lines. Let's be
Yeah, it's
honest.
got some transitive night full of diamonds in it for sure. But we were saying that, like,
A whiff of
a whiff
transitive
of it.
nightfall.
I'm gonna have to restart my thing here, but let me just see if I can get this idea out. But we were talking about how, like, the Phish never got their hit, right? And I mean, and this sort of like breezing over them on the Hall of Fame, and like even the Dead had Touch of Grey, and even though it came like Jerry died when he was 53, Trey's already lived 10 years past him. The Dead had that hit, I guess, when he was 50 or something. He must have, or before maybe he was 40 something. That moment never came for Phish. You talk about John Mayer, like, carrying the legacy of the Dead music beyond the Dead. Like, all the dead guys will die, and the music will remain like the songbook of bluegrass, or country, or the blues. And the Dead those tunes that you can sing around a campfire that she's talking about, those songs may live on. A ripple may live on for a long, long, long time.
Oh, certainly it will.
But a Fluffhead, or a Fee, or a Dirt, or just pick any one, is not going to. And I was thinking about that, and I was thinking about how, the people talk about if you're living in the time of Paul McCartney, it's like you're living in the time of a Mozart, essentially. You're alive at the same time. Maybe nobody knew Mozart was Mozart at the time, but certainly, like, people write, oh, we're going to look back at this time of the Beatles, and you're not going to find so much prolific songwriting for a long, long, long time. The same way you might not find another Nelson Mandela, or a Michael Jordan, or name whoever it is. But I think, like, if Phish, for us, if we have, Michael and I joke about this, from Michael from the Dog Log, that, like, we're alive in the time of Phish, and we've got the gene that makes coriander taste like coriander, and not like soap. You've heard this before.
Yes.
People have they pinpointed the, like, gene that
Cilantro
makes
tastes like soap for me. I have that gene.
Okay, interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
there's not an
I know what
overlap
you're
with
saying,
the Phish
but
gene and the cilantro gene.
I'm writing my thoughts down so you can continue yours, but I have things
No, I'm
to
done.
say.
But I find it amazing that we're living in the time where this is all happening, and it's not going to happen. Maybe it's going to go away when it goes away, and it's not going to live on. And we just happen.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, but I'm just grateful that we happen to be here when it's here, and that we've got the gene to appreciate it, and that if it doesn't go on, in the greater collective consciousness, I'm glad that I was here at this little moment, that I got to share. Those who kind of tapped into it, I'm glad. I'm very glad, very, very, very glad, grateful to be here. Glad that you're glad.
All right, to your point, in the here and now, I wonder, so something about what you said made me think about, like, John Cage. And in his time of composition, I bet you a lot of people were like, this isn't lasting. This is garbage. What is this? Put springs in an open piano and play nothing but some reverb for 9 minutes in a symphony hall. But I do think that there is a gene for the avant-garde. And I feel like Phish has that sort of avant-garde color to whether it's lyricism, the tweezer, whatever it is that gets people off on the unexpected, sort of challenge to tradition. Maybe kind of like Bukowski. How is this silly thing about computer systems a poem that means anything, maybe even in his time? And now here we are, let's call it 40 years later, as my guess, when he wrote the poem, that there's something incredibly playful and still analogous in our sort of technology journey as humans that makes it sort of nostalgic, but also prophetic at the same time. We don't know after we die who might be like, I'm glad I'm a glide. Like, could be your kids. They could you know, be old enough, so
I
to
don't
speak.
think that's coming. That's what Stacey was saying. She was just saying that's not coming. It's just not coming.
Ah,
I don't
man,
think it will, and I kind of agree with her. I don't know if it will.
I
But
don't
it's a nice
know.
thought. But
I
I
met
mean,
a
the dead are proving it
19-year-old at
right
the
now, and yeah, maybe it will happen. Say what? Sorry to interrupt you. 19-year-old girl. What? Say again.
No, I was saying that when I was in Portland at the Phish show with Stacy, the my little like space neighbor on the floor who I chatted with for a while, it's like this 19-year-old kid who had come about and found Phish however he did, and he was just so joyous and excited. And I think there's something in the spirit that will be sort of avant-garde, outside of the norm, slightly askew, that people will gravitate towards this music. I think. I don't know. You guys could be the
Well,
naysayers.
we talked about on a previous episode where, like, the White Album was in both of our cars, and it was the soundtrack of our high school years,
Yes.
and they were long past being over when we tapped into them. And the Dead, like, when we can't, if you went to we went to Dead shows, like, we weren't, we were talking about how
Yeah.
we were the very, very, very junior members of
Yeah.
that,
We were 16. We were that 19-year-old kid. I was a 15-year-old kid.
and then you look at the John Mayer phenomenon of Dead, which I actually just watched like half a set for the first time ever, like 6 songs in a row of a
Mm.
show, and I was like getting it. It was interesting. It was like, oh, okay, yeah, this would be worth exploring some more. Even though it wasn't that I dismissed it, but I did click to me. Then, like, oh, this guy's like sacrificing his own career, so for the longevity or for the music, and maybe that moment hasn't come for Phish yet. Maybe it will, but I wonder if it will. But yeah, it probably will. Maybe it just needs 10 more years. No,
We'll
but maybe it
see.
does. Really, yeah, we'll see. Hey, Ann. Okay,
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna try to restart. I think if I can't see you, so I'm sitting here talking to a blank screen, and I see
Oh,
some
no
comments.
way.
Yeah, I know it's a little. I'm just winging. I'm trying to like fake it, but there's some comments here that I
Your
can't pull up
wires
onto
are
the screen.
crossed. Your bits
Yes, they are.
are not talking to the bytes.
Why don't you go to can you go to the YouTube
Chat?
channel thing? Yeah, and
Oh.
go to the chat and mute the video so that it doesn't like feed back into the microphone.
Okay.
And
This could
just
be weird. This could be weird.
no. Just can you open up a browser while you're talking to
Yeah,
this camera at the same time?
I hold on.
So there you go. Just mute that.
Yeah, I see both of
And
us.
then you go read I think, but I'm going to refresh my browser so that
Okay.
hopefully I can get you back. And I don't think that's going to kick you off. Once you read some of these comments, and then I'll be back in 30 seconds.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. I'll be right
Now
back.
it looks like my head has to crank the whole other way because my dual screen situation. But okay. 4D man, good day to you. Says Bukowski, gifted earthly writer. I only discovered him about 10 years ago. Then read everything. Yes, read. And he's surprisingly gentle sometimes. Honestly, he so is. Bukowski is just as obscene and profane as they come. But certainly the other side of that is his tenderness. And boy, he gets to some truths, doesn't he? And then 4D Man also says Fave Bukowski, maybe Shakespeare never did this. His prose memoir about being on European tour giving readings. Getting rare now, that book. I am not familiar with that. But that sounds like a good read. All right. Well,
Okay. I figured it out.
oh, good. That was perfect timing. I was just feeling awkward. I don't know if I can keep YouTube up. It's a lot.
Oh, whoops. Okay. We're getting there.
And there's this weird lag.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Okay. So this is episode 5 of We Read Icculus. This is pretty fun. It's pretty exciting. Episode 5. We got a proper
know.
podcast, right?
I think our next big milestone is 10. I think we go by fives. How real are we?
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe does
Then
it
we
get
go.
less cringe? Like I got off last time. I had to like lay on my yoga mat for a good 45 minutes and just like down regulate my nervous system and down regulate my cringe. My son said, what did he say? I wrote it down in my notebook. Kill the part of you that cringes, not the part of you that's cringe.
Okay, that's some wisdom from a
That's like
18-year-old.
millennial meme wisdom, 19. But
Okay,
yeah,
that's
I
pretty
think his
good.
point was like, you are who you are, you're unique. All those things that you cringe about are just who you are, and we all have that. But like being like, oh, I'm so cringy about it, like doing the ugh to yourself is not good. I think was his
Yeah,
point.
I don't think we're ever gonna get rid of the cringe. I've been working on it for 2 years, and I'm still cringing
Whew.
people out. Yeah, so, I don't think
Yeah.
we're gonna get it. So probably that's good advice. So
I
thanks
don't
for
know.
that.
Yeah, thank you, my love, for that. That was a good one. You know that like I perform music, and so every time my band has a gig, it gets a little easier to not beat myself up after the fact, but this is kind of a new medium for me. So, it's a whole new mind game.
Well, let's be gentle on ourselves, and let's just keep. We're breaking ice. We're forging a new path. It's an interesting little thing we're doing here. I think.
Yeah,
I
yeah. This is a new
I
path
mean,
for me. I'm here for it. I love
yeah,
it.
and if it's
And
not, yeah, it's our new
ha,
path. Exactly. Yeah.
yes,
So
I'm glad
hey,
we're
I
walking
want to
it
get into
together,
it.
Bry. All right, what are we
I
gonna do
I
today?
I
Why don't
know.
we
Can
talk
I
about
can
it?
I just give a shout out? They're not listening, but
Yes.
we talked about just one quick little memory. We joked about the first New Yorkers we ever met, or I was joking about like the first like
Yes,
real
yeah,
New
yeah. We do
Yorker
have
that
to
I
talk
ever met,
about this.
and I met up with these guys who like they lived upstairs. I think I bought some weed from them or something. I think
Of
I
course you
forgot what
did.
the story was, but they were
In the
like, or
days
maybe
of
they
your
lost.
dreadlocks, yes.
Anyway, Matt came in and David Blau from like Long Island. They were probably both from Long Island.
Long
And
Islands, Long
Long Island.
Islands. Yeah, yeah.
And they were so funny. And I've kept in touch with them after all these years. And we drove to Wolf Mountain and saw like all the Red Rock shows together. They were my and we had one little fun story. I had a VW bus, my VW bus. The accelerator cable had this little lead on it. It had like a little, almost had like a, like how when you have like a backpack and you kind of got the shoelace through the little springy thing that it fits through, right? And it's
Yeah,
you little
yeah,
drawstring
yeah.
thing. So the carburetor, the wire to the carburetor went through this thing, and then you tightened it down. And then there was another one that connected these two wires together, and that connected the wire from the carburetor that went all the way to the foot pedal. There were these two wires that's connected, and then had that little
Oh,
little thing that you tied down
Volkswagens.
in the
Yeah, yeah.
right. And it came undone once when I was like in high school, and then like I put it back together and I tightened it again, and it came undone again. Every time it came undone, it like frayed a little bit, and like I kept sticking these two frayed wires barely like into this thing, and then a little piece would break off, and then a little piece would break off,
Oh
and then
my
I just
gosh, danger
basically had these
zone.
like two little tiny wires that were like stuck together, and finally they broke. And like I could not connect like Back to the Future when you can't like connect the 1.21
The
gigawatt
flux capacitor. Yeah.
capacitor, right?
Yeah.
I couldn't
They
connect them
don't reach
anymore.
anymore. Yeah, yeah. Ah.
And we literally were broke down in the middle of the Utah desert. It was awesome. And like in the middle of nowhere, like nowhere. And I got out my How to Keep a Volkswagen Alive Forever
Oh, I
manual.
love that. But yes, I know
Isn't that
that
a
book.
great book? We should
Yeah, it's
pull out
got
some. There's
great
some wisdom in
artwork.
that book for sure,
Yeah,
right?
I quite.
I love a good nonfiction book that speaks to me like I'm a human, and that like is like, hey, by the way, did you know that you know, if you put Cheetos on a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, it's really good, or whatever it is. My dad gave me this book called Photography, like Focus on the Profit, and it's like Focus on the Profit. It was like a business book, like early in my career, and he gave it to me, and it was like just filled with like so much. It was like talking to me. I was like, this guy's like talking to me, you know. And it's like every page, and there were these like he had all these little isms and all these little like asides, and it's like, have you ever thought about this? And then I wrote to him, and he wrote me back, and I nearly died. I nearly bugged out. Yeah, I was so excited. If John Muir, I think, even though we have the John Muir,
different John
Muir, but I think John Muir is the guy who kept Muir Woods. But we had John Muir was also the name of the guy who wrote, I think, the How to Keep Your Volkswagen Alive Forever. But
John Muir, Stikeen, wonderful little ditty.
Correct me if I'm wrong about that. That How to Keep Your Volkswagen Alive. Maybe it wasn't John Muir, but I'm pretty sure it was.
Wait, so you wrote to him?
No, I didn't write to him. I wrote to the photographer.
Okay. There was a little conflation in there.
I know I'm going off on tangents, which is what I tend to do.
It's early.
I tied my shoelaces together. I took the shoestrings out of my Chuck Taylor All-Stars, and I tied them together, and I ran them through the inside of the bus into the top compartment. Your bus might not have had one, but in the back of the 74, you could access the top of the motor from the very far back, by the hatchback or whatever. Open this thing up, ran it down in there, and plugged the shoelace into the carburetor, and drove all the way to fucking Utah and back with a shoestring in my mouth, driving like this.
Did the book tell you to do that? Was that like, here's one fix?
I can't remember. I think I got it from the book, but we did it. Me and Dave and the three of us had this like crazy. We were driving a death trap mouse trap. Mouse trap.
Bus days.
On Phish tour. It was awesome. It was super awesome. Okay.
So let me just
We just mentioned the New Yorkers and and Howie. Sorry. And go ahead.
Okay, so when Brian had the orange 74 bus, me and Joe had the maroon 71 Campmobile. And I don't remember like wires getting crossed, but we did have a push button. Do you remember that? And that was really fun.
Transmission?
Yeah.
Transmission?
So you put the key in, bloop, but then you had to push the button while you were like revving the gas. And gosh, it was so fun. I loved that Volkswagen. I want to have the wherewithal to own a Volkswagen again. All right, let's talk about Howie Rubin, shall we?
Howie Rubin was the friend of Dave, was a guy who came out to meet his buddies Dave and Matt. And Dave and Matt said, "Hey, we want to introduce you to our buddy who just came to town. Howie. Does he go by? He goes by Howard now, but Howie. He was Howie.
He goes by Howie in our
Howie Rubin. Hey, Howie.
Howie Rubin.
Howie Rubin.
How we doing?
Probably from Long.
No, he's from Rockland County. Our high school played his high school.
Okay, and maybe those guys are also from there. That's probably where they're from. I think they're all from the same place.
Well, then they're not from Long Island. They're from Rockland.
Okay, well then I'm mistaken. They're from Rockland. Okay, I don't know what the difference between Rock Island and Long Island is. What's Rock Island? Tell me about Rock Island.
It's Rockland. Rockland. It's where everybody rocks. No, Rockland County. So you've got the Hudson River, okay? You got Manhattan. Okay. You got the Hudson River comes up. There's a part of New York that's on the east part of the Hudson River. That's Westchester. And then there's a tiny little sliver of New York that's on the, I guess it must be the west side of the Hudson. And that's Rockland County, and it sort of bleeds into New Jersey. It's kind of like Highway 80 is over there. And, it's basically samesies. It's just on that side by the Palisades. And then Long Island is, out away. It's like into the ocean a little. That's where we went to the beach. I don't know. I can't see all of it. I just
know. Out there on Long Island is like what? Is Coney Island on Is Coney Island out there?
No, Coney Island is the end of Brooklyn, I think.
Okay.
Anyway. Yeah. We'll get into maps
once you get like beyond the sort of
We'll get a person from New York City to explain the map of New York City. And speaking of Howie and Stacy and all of our homies that we love so much, Edwin Hurwitz said he would love to be a guest on our show sometime.
Oh, that's exciting.
So
that's lovely.
I know, isn't that great? So we have to get him on before we get to 10. I think that's a good goal for us. And maybe once he comes on, maybe Stacy would be like, oh, Edwin went on. Maybe I could come on too. Like, that'd be cute.
She can do. We'll definitely get her on if she's the only. Yeah, we'll get her on.
And maybe
then
we could get
Maya
Howie
Dorn
on too. That'd be
let's
fun.
get Howie on. Yeah.
Well, Howie's working on a 2-minute stand-up bit for some kind of event. So
no way.
Well, I hope now that he heard me say it publicly, he really does it. That was like some of our whisper campaign last time we chatted. But he could try out his stand-up. And me and Howie have a really funny thing where in sort of more recent Phish shows, there'll be this kind of tone or feel. So Phish used to play some like jazz inspired songs, melodies. Sometimes in the jam, it'll be like really like this kind of like abba da boop bop, soft shoe jazz. So me and Howie we like will text each other, you know, or turn to each other and show me the soft shoe. Are we in the soft shoe? And I don't know. It's pretty cute.
What do you call it? Wait, the soft shoe? That's what you call it? Soft shoe. We call it
the soft. It's a certain sound to the music. Next time you and I are listening to Phish, because it's unfolding.
I know exactly what it is when you said it. I just didn't know what it was called.
Shoe. Yeah. Okay. I don't know. That's just what we call it.
But like, soft shoe means like you're dancing soft. What is? I didn't catch it.
Yeah, you're like, dancing soft. You're dancing soft. Like if I'm not mistaken, I think there was a show where Paige McConnell's dad came out and danced a little soft shoe.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
Remember
it's like
that?
It's like an old timer.
A soft shoe.
I got it. Okay, that's
anyway.
Cool.
That's like part of me and Howie's thing. But it's funny because he knew you from the diner. He knew me, but I could not quite recall him. And then we have a like from the 90s anyway. But then we have a crossover with some of my high school friends who lived out here in Boulder, John and Lou and Jamie. No, well, we won't say her last name. But my dear friend from high school and current colleague, Jamie. The best. You remember her? Auntie Dick?
It's been a while, but I'm sure I do. Yeah. Lovely Jamie. But I don't know Howie from the diner. I know Howie from Phish and from Dave and Matt. That's how I know him. And then Dave and Matt basically repatriated back to New York and Howie stayed. And Howie was like my connection to Matt and Dave still. And then Howie and I became pals. And then Howie, of course, went to work for Warren Miller, who was
Did he really?
Oh yeah, you don't know about that?
No.
Yeah, Warren Miller is an amazing Colorado phenomenon. I don't know if he's specific to Colorado, but an amazing. He's the Jacques Cousteau of skiing and snowboarding movies, essentially. And he's been making movies about ski life and mountain life since like the 60s, maybe. Guy goes, is he still living? Is he still with us? He might. I don't even know if he is. He's 100 years old. And his videos, his movies, his films always played like at the beginning of the ski season and in little theaters across Colorado. And you would go and you'd be like, fuck yeah, it's coming. It's coming. Winter is coming, you know? You'd be so pumped. You see dudes flying off cliffs and you just be like, wah! And then the snow season would come and you'd rage all winter long. And Warren Miller was a huge deal.
Well, I know Warren Miller, but I don't recall how. I never heard how he worked for Warren Miller. I think,
don't quote me on it, but I'm pretty sure he did because, and maybe it was a short-lived thing, but he came to Japan for like with 10 buddies, and they all went skiing together. They were on like a ski tour here, and that was really cool. And that's where I met a handful more of the people that I know you guys have already been hanging out with for years, and who are just kind of like in my peripheral vision. But anyway.
It's a small world after all.
It's a small world. It's a small world. Yeah. Okay. That took us 30 minutes to get here. Sorry about that, folks. 34 minutes.
I think that's a sort of normal intro.
Yeah, I
for
think there's
us.
people being like, okay, all right,
Whatever,
enough
they can come
already.
back later. You can reload later. We're not going anywhere. We're like up on YouTube for at least a couple years.
Well, just thanks for being here, folks. Thanks for sticking around. I mean, we're doing this
James
for us, but
Farley.
James Farley's here in
Hi,
the
Brian
house,
and
and 40 man.
Andrea.
It's just the five of it. I mean, I think you and me, Andrea, are counting for 2 views, and
Yes.
40, and it's just us. So it's it's fine.
It's
But hold on,
intimate. It's intimate.
it's there. Tom Waits has a great line where he talks about, I often get asked, is it possible to get pregnant without intercourse?
It turns
And
out
I
it is.
gotta go all the way back to the Civil War. And there was a guy a Union soldier who got shot. The bullet went right through his testicles and landed in the ovaries of a woman who was standing 50 feet behind him.
Wow. What
Uh,
are the
the,
chances?
the baby was born. Everything was fine. The soldier was not too happy. You could say it's a type of intercourse, but not for everybody. So anyway, that was the point. Is this show might not be for everybody, but hey, it's
No,
for
no.
those.
We're like, as Jerry said, we're like black licorice. Not everybody likes it, but the people who like it really like
Yeah,
it. You said
yeah.
that about the Grateful Dead.
Oh, I didn't. I vaguely remember that one. It's a good one. That's a
Yeah,
really
it's a
good one.
great one. I personally like red licorice. I love what are those called? Laces, red laces. Like the 75-cent version in some Wyoming roadside attraction.
Oh, there goes Anne. Come back, Anne. Talking about black licorice. She might be overheating. I hope. Yeah. Okay. And come back. Black licorice. I want to say that when you travel around the world a little bit, you find black licorice, anise, and whatever that herb or spice is out in the corners of the globe where you don't expect to. Hey there, you're back. I'm talking about black licorice and about how when you travel to a Nepal or to an Indonesia or to deep in the Black Forest, you come across black licorice. It's a thing that's
Mm.
out there, right, in the world.
Mm-hmm.
China even has it, and I don't think certainly I hated it when I was a kid, but I've broadened my horizons to love and appreciate it, which is why I'm maybe
Can't
not
do
like
it.
I'm not. Yeah, I know. I think I'm there's a certain level of posing to it. I'm trying to convince myself that I like it, and I do. But there's a certain level of some people really have
Yeah.
stuff. They really
Yeah,
have
yeah,
a thing. And I want the thing that they have, and I don't
yeah.
have it, but I feel like if I will myself enough, I might get it, but I never get it. I'm just
That's
constantly like,
that's
I'm
how I feel
trying.
about cilantro, aka coriander seed. It's like I want to be able to like eat the banh mi without taking off like the little sexy dress of herbs, but it's
Can't do
just
it.
not.
Right. If it tastes
Who
like
wants to eat
soap, you
soap?
can't eat it.
I know.
Right. Exactly.
All right, so
Hold on.
you want
Here's
to
one.
talk about?
Oh, yeah. Go.
No,
There's a
go for
comment
it.
here, a long one. Let me get it out. I want to read it. So,
Okay.
did a feature on film sets in New York City? Okay. Was that like a video
Films
before I
set.
even visited the city? Okay. Starts with longest sentence I ever wrote. Just trying to do a Tom Wolfe through it. Just trying to do a Tom Wolfe, though it doesn't measure up. But I got past the editor. Okay, nice job. Maybe that was in a book. Maybe that
But
was
it
in
got
a.
but it got past the editor. I love a long sentence. God, there's
Yeah,
some
me
writers
too.
who do that so well. Um, one of the
Yeah.
books that I taught, one of my favorite books is a book by Tim O'Brien. Have I talked about this? It's called The Things They Carried. It's about the Vietnam War. And there are some chapters where his writing style, it's like a whole sentence will be, I don't know, like half a paragraph or a
Whole
10
page.
line
Yeah.
sentence. Obviously, it's for a reason. It's so much fun to read. And then it was really sweet this year. I got some good feedback from kids who said, hearing you read that book really helped me imagine my own voice reading. And that's probably like one of the biggest things I learned this year. And That's so interesting. Kind of to 4D Man's point from a handful of shows ago about hearing writing being articulated as opposed to sort of silently struggling in your own head as a reader. It's just pretty fascinating. It's making me think about how I might want to teach next year. Yay, reading.
Mm. Mm. I find kind of audiobook listening to be cheating, sort of. And I find reading out loud, practicing for this very podcast, to be a very weird thing. Like, I'm like, wow, I'm like sitting here and my family's like looking at me like, what is he doing? I'm like, reading aloud. I'm just sitting here reading things aloud, which
So
is,
you
yeah.
practice. You do you
No.
practice
I
before
haven't
we
touched these
go.
in a week. But I
Okay,
did read
okay.
them once just to hear them being read, because the sentence that 4D Man just gave me did a feature on film sets in New York. Like, I had to like read it twice to find the stride of it, you know?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so anyway, let's read.
Let's read the short one first. What do you say, John Fishman?
Yeah. Hey, can you guys like and subscribe so that we can keep doing this? And can you think in the back of your head of an article that you might want us to read? I think we're going to keep reading about Phish, but we're going to run out of things to write about, or we're going to run out of things written
No,
about Phish.
we're
Okay, Anne thinks
not.
no, but if Hal was suggested on the last podcast to go find something that you might be fun to read. Maybe it's like 10 episodes down the way, but like throw some things, throw some spaghetti at the wall. Let's try this.
Well, I threw some spaghetti at the wall in our show doc, and I found this quite recent Phish essay by Rob Mitchum that I think we should read at some point in the future. I dropped all of my links. I did like quick research this morning. I think I found
Well done.
something
I didn't even
that
check it out yet.
is pretty dense in terms of links and history and whatnot. So I think we have some things, but we were
Okay.
considering.
Oh, you got it. Okay.
I've had
Very
it. I have
cool.
like 15 pages left to go. I've annotated a ton of this book.
You've marginalized it? You've
I have
marginaliaed it?
marginaliaed it. I have marginaliaed.
You've marginalized it.
I've marginalized it. No, I can't marginalize this book. This is just like, this really turned
It's
me on
good?
this year. Oh yeah, here's my
Really?
marginalia.
Okay,
Yes.
interesting. I just was listening to Run DMC last night, and I saw Rick Rubin as his name popped up on the back of the credits. Thanks to Rick Rubin. I'm just like, wow,
No, this has
he's
been
out
really
out
fun.
there
I
on
read
so
a bunch
many
of
different
this.
interesting things.
I read a bunch of this to my students. It like got my brain going around play theory, Gregory Bateson. I mean, this is some cool shit. Buddhism. There's like a lot of connections to romantic poetry. I mean, I have like a wide net in my mind. So every time like the nodes touch, I had a spell here where I was annotating the book, and it was quite enjoyable.
Okay, let's try it. We'll try it on the upcoming season 2, maybe.
Yeah, season 2. We'll see what happens. How long season 1 is, we have no idea.
It's 10 to 12, 8 to 12 episodes, I think.
Okay, great.
Okay, so this one we've got 2 pieces. One's a John Fishman. It's just it's a local piece. It's a local newspaper piece about their hometown hero, John Fishman. That's all it is. There's not a lot to it, I think, but maybe there's a nugget in there.
Fishman. We haven't spoken much.
Yeah, we love
him
Fishman.
Yet.
Should we preface Fishman with anything? We call him Phish. Fishman. So the drummer John Fishman, for those curious, John Fishman is the drummer of Phish. Now Phish is Phish. John Fishman is Fish. There's debate, there's lore over where the name Phish comes from, but they say John Fishman is the hardest working drummer in showbiz, or the hardest practicing drummer certainly in showbiz.
I like that edit.
And yeah, right. And he famously was like wearing these like ridiculous outfit and crazy hair and walking across the campus of where UVM. Did I get it right?
Yes. Don't offend our listeners. UVM, University of Vermont.
And Trey spotted him like out of the window and was like, "Who is that guy?" You know, walking across the quad, or with his bongos or something. And then they ended up like, he heard drums coming from a dorm room, you know, down the hall, and he went in there and it was like, oh, it's the guy from the quad with the crazy hair and the crazy glasses, and he was practicing drums, and they started this instant friendship. And John Fishman, John Fishman. He's a resident goof, but he's also I would almost say the most quiet member of the band. Arguably he's not very outspoken, except when he is. And or at least in recent years, he's a little bit more. It's not like personality. It's kind of hard to put too fine a point on it, but he's right. How would you put it, Anne? How would you describe a John Fishman?
John Fishman is a quirky trickster who, yes, practices his drums a lot, which is why he's so good. He has an incredible sense of feeling and texture and variety in his playing. He can be incredibly understated and then at times incredibly bombastic. I think out of all of the members of the band, he might be the most outspoken politically in a personal way. And people flame him for that. I don't. But in terms of like who's doing the talking at the shows to the audience, he generally is not saying too much until he is. And then he's stripping off his dress to bounce around naked at my first show with his dick flying around.
That was your first show. That happened at your first show.
I don't think I had seen an adult male penis. And then John Fishman's dress comes off at Halloween. You become naked. Revolution number 9 from the Beatles. And,
was that the night that he did that? Are you kidding me?
Yeah. That like was a wowzers moment. Then he had to come back out and play a whole third set. Anyway, that's seared in the memory banks of my 16-year-old acid brain. Anyway.
So here is that.
But I think he is outspoken. He posts a lot of political stuff that resonates with me. He is politically active in his home state of Maine.
Sorry.
You go.
He goes shows without ever having said a peep out of him.
Till he does.
Here he is dancing. Where is it? There.
Other side.
No, there he is, under the S.
Oh, yes, my first show, Phish.
There he is, naked, dashing across the stage.
You become naked. You can see it on the internet. There's a whole wonderful YouTube online of 10/31/94 Phish. 3 sets.
He plays the vacuum in addition to the drums, and he plays it as kind of like a brass instrument, if you will. He kind of sucks or doesn't suck on the tube, and it creates this like crazy, and he can get melody out of it, he can get tone out of it. It's kind of funny. Anyway,
he sucks and he blows.
But I think he also plays the trumpet, and like I don't know, he's just a character. He's another force in the four-headed monster that is the band. He's something of a prominent personality within the thing, and like Anne said, he's the most outspoken politically. Like they're from Ben and Jerry land. They're from the farm, if you will, and they're from I think he's got like he runs the general store, and he ran for like local councilman, and like that's his like other identity. But when he's on and he's also apparently like maybe he's a bad boy. He's like a little bit of a troublemaker on tour, at least was way back in the day. I don't think
anybody's making trouble these days, but
well, no, not these days. But I think his reputation precedes itself.
We can only interview people so far. I'm thinking of one person.
Okay.
Maybe more.
Well, let's keep going. Yeah, let's get past it. Anyway, John Fishman, the fish in Phish maybe comes from Phish. It's not definitive. It said that the sound of an airplane. I've heard Trey once say like. I've heard Trey once say that. the sound, just the sound of is like something pleasing to that. And then there you got John Fishman. So they've never really said definitively, like a lot of things about Phish, but he is our namesake. We just call him the namesake of the band, even though maybe
I think that's legit. No, I think it's legit.
Okay. So and he's from Syracuse, and this is a piece about, this is a like, hey, Syracuse hometown hero gets some love, and he gets the town key to the city or something like that. That's what this article is about. So let's get it going. How that, and I said it took us 30 minutes. It actually took us 50 freaking minutes. Okay. John Fishman went from the worst kid in band to a SAMMY lifetime achievement winner. SAMMY must be Syracuse something lifetime achievement award. So he went from the worst kid in band to a SAMMY lifetime achievement winner, a winner. Okay, published February 27, 2015. This goes back a little bit, by Chris Baker. Let's see here. John Fishman interview. Okay, sorry. Phish drummer John Fishman tells the story of his dad, Dr. Len Fishman, coming to see a band at a sold-out Madison Square Garden show in 1994. You've got to love your work. If you wake up in the morning and you like going to work, that's as good as it gets. I think that's a quote from the article. And then we have a picture here of Phish. And then we have, it says here, I think the caption on it says, John Fishman, drummer for rock band Phish, will receive the Lifetime Achievement Award from the Syracuse Area Music Hall of Fame. Okay.
They won one Hall of Fame award anyway.
Yeah. The Syracuse. That's perfect. That's perfect for us.
Who was at Madison Square Garden sold out show in 1994, Brian?
So I just got distracted by freaking Jack Mento is in the stream. Dude.
That's right. Jack Mento is from Syracuse.
Yeah,
so Dave Watts, actually. So we were talking. This is a funny story. So here's a little crossover. Jack Mento went to Christian Boys Academy in Syracuse, New York, and Dave Watts, who we interviewed in episode 3, also went to our Christian Brothers Academy in Syracuse for high school, obviously worlds apart. But Jack is our old homie. Talk about your Volkswagen buses. He was in that club too.
Oh my God, Jack, dude, it is so great. So wonderful. It's marvelous. It's a marvelous thing.
Stupendous, one might say.
Your name, stupendous, dude. Can I just give me 1 second, Andrea?
Yeah, of course.
Jack, I love this. Jack is a Boulder legend, a musical jester of all different kinds. Very
a muse.
Amazing,
he is
cool
certainly
muse.
A muse.
He is a muse, and he has many muses himself, and
indeed,
amazing, accomplished artist, and Renaissance man, and yes. A fellow motorcycle rider. And Jack and I have many great memories of riding our motorcycles around the hills of Front Range and the Continental Divide, and having a lot of fun. Jack had an Aprilia at the time, really cool Italian bike. He's Italian, and
Aprilia.
I had a Transalp at the time. We had so much fun riding around. And Jack, I'm fixing to buy. I have a bike now. And I'm getting ready to integrate my music into the motorcycle. I got this little project that'll be really interesting for you to check out.
Psychedelic sidecar.
Ooh, I like that, psychedelic sidecar. And this motorcycle that I'm thinking, this new bike that I'm thinking about getting, it's way across the country, and it's the same model that I have now, but it's a much nicer version. And I called the dude last night, and I'm like, yo, and he was like, hey, I checked out your home. He checked me out. He's a photographer. He's been around the world. He's been to India. He's been to all these places. I told him what I want to do. He said, oh, here's my record collection. He shares me his record collection. And we have this amazing heart to heart. And I said to him, like, dude, if the motorcycle doesn't work out, I still want to be connected to you after all this time. And he said, yeah, man, be good. Take care. And I said, all right, see you. And then I said, one more thing. I said, the really cool phrase that we say in Colorado and that we say in America, like a cool motorcycle thing, is rubber side down. Rubber side down means don't crash. It means be careful. It means keep the rubber side down. And Jack taught me rubber side down. And
No
Jack would always say
way.
like, yo, rubber side down, man. I'd be like, yo, rubber side down. I have taught that. That phrase has traveled around the world. And just yesterday, I shared it with somebody. So one more thing, rubber side down. It means, yeah, dude, rubber side down, dude. So
Let
you
me
guys,
ask you this, Brian.
whatever you do, take care of your shoes. And if you ride a motorcycle, rubber side down. I'm listening.
Were you ever a part of the Cheesy Riders with Jack Mento at all? Do you remember that biker gang?
I was a friend of the Cheesy Riders, but I was not in the Cheesy Riders. Yeah,
because that's a little pocket of folklore as well.
Yeah, I mean those guys. I almost want to say I'm partly. I mean, I had the dual sport before. I'm not going to claim that, but like. I was driving the bikes with those guys. Yeah, exactly. I was doing it before anybody else was. But I did have a clear vision on the dual sport motorcycle, which became a thing that everybody suddenly was interested in.
All right. Well, Jack Mento, thank you for stopping by. Love seeing you.
Dude, Jack is amazing. Dude, you gotta get Jack on as a guest. Jack needs to come on as a Jack. Come on as a guest.
So he used to have a podcast with our friend Joe Grosso, and that is this morning I sent them a text and I said, I'm channeling you guys. Check out my Angelina. That was Aprilia, he says. But I was like, I'm channeling you guys sort of through my cringe. I'm like gonna lean into keep the rubber side down. I'm gonna lean into you guys. We should totally have Jack.
Dude,
on. He's
t-shirts have been made. T-shirts and patches and stickers have been made that say I've shortened it. It's gone from keep the rubber side down to just rubber side down, man. Rubber side down. So it is t-shirts, dude. It's t-shirts.
Oh my god. All right, so Jack, Syracuse.
Your hometown hero. Jack, did you grow up with John Fishman? Did you know John Fishman from the ball field? Did you know him from the park? That'd be kind of interesting.
Or Dr. Leonard Fishman, his dad could have been like Jack's pediatrician.
Syracuse not that big of a town, I would guess. All right, it's over to you, Ann.
It's advice a college of John. Town. All right. You've got to love your work. If you wake up in the morning and you like going to work, that's as good as it gets. That's the advice John Fishman's father, Dr. Leonard Fishman, hammered home when his kids were growing up. Love what you do. And for 3 decades, John, drummer for the band Phish, has heeded his father's words. Thursday night, 10 years ago, the Syracuse Area Music Awards will bestow upon John Fishman its highest honor, the Lifetime Achievement Award for spending his life doing what he loves. It's an accolade earned by just 18 artists, including Ronnie James Dio, Dick Clark, and Jimmy Van Heusen.
Wow. During an hour-long interview from his home in Vermont, Fishman, a 1983 graduate of Jamesville DeWitt High School. Jack, where did you go to high school? Did you go to Jamesville DeWitt?
No, he went to Christian Brothers Academy.
Oh, that's right. Okay, DeWitt was initially at a loss of words regarding the award.
For a man who can talk and talk and talk, to be at a loss for words for John Fishman is actually kind of funny.
Okay, he says, I guess I'm a little embarrassed, he said after some hesitation. Let's put it this way. My dad, who has donated tons of his time, is way more deserving of a Lifetime Achievement Award. My friend Roger is at the forefront of figuring out ALS. My wife has raised 5 kids. Everybody else in that room deserves a Lifetime Achievement Award for what they've done. Do I deserve a Lifetime Achievement Award for being the luckiest kid in the world?
I like that.
Take it away.
Okay, as far as Syracuse-bred musicians go, however, Fishman ranks among the most accomplished. He has spent 33 years as the drummer of Phish, the Vermont hippie staple that took the world by storm in the 1990s, and remains one of the most popular touring acts in the country due to its highly devoted counterculture fan base. With his signature band, Fishman is known for his trademark frock, a blue dress adorned with pink donuts, and for his solos on the vacuum cleaner. He's been shot out of a cannon on stage, sort of, and once sang Katy Perry's I Kissed a Girl. He's known among fans as simply Phish or sometimes Henrietta.
What are some of the other nicknames he has? There's a bunch.
Moses Heaps,
Moses Heaps,
DeWitt.
Moses DeWitt. Oh, I wonder if DeWitt comes from James DeWitt High School.
That in my brain too.
Moses Heaps, Moses DeWitt. What's the third one? There's another one. Moses. I think there's a third one. Moses Heaps, ladies and gentlemen, Moses Heaps, Moses DeWitt. And what happens is Trey, the lead guitar player, his first instrument is drums, actually, before it was, and he talks about that and how it informed his guitar playing. But and actually, do you remember he did like a beautiful little during the pandemic, he got out and did these little music lessons. Do you remember this?
Yes,
he did like these little amazing music lessons. And one of the lessons was like
videos.
They were so cool.
Splitting the rhythm. It was about
splitting the rhythm. That's what it was. Like, you remember well. Yeah, that one was really
something.
So Trey, what happens? Well, Trey will go back on the drum kit, and he's a decent drummer. He'll go back on the drum kit, and Fishman will come out front, and he'll play the vacuum, or and during the time
the cymbals,
when Fishman
crackling Rosie cymbals,
yeah. What else does he do? He does a bunch of signature songs, a couple Pink Floyd tunes. He does. I read Bicycle.
He does Bike by who is Sid Barrett.
He does a bunch of talk. He's a big talking. I think he does anyway. They'll play dun, 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 dun. When it's time for Phish to come out on stage, and the Trey wants to go back and sit on the drums, Paige and Mike, the keyboard and bass, will play dun 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 dun, which is "Hold Your Head Up" by the band Argent. And then he'll come out and he'll play. And the reason that they play "Hold Your Head Up" is because they hate this song apparently, but it was his least favorite song or something.
Fishman I often hates that song. Yes.
So I often see a copy of it, Argent, "Hold Your Head Up," and on a 45 or at the record store. I'm always tempted to buy it, and I'm like, I don't need this.
No, you definitely need it for your psychedelic sidecar. I'm gonna get it. Your arrival music.
But if you go to Phish, so they play it. So dun, 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 dun. It sounds like a show tune. Phish comes out and plays this, and comes out and they'll do a song. And then when the song's over, the crowd will go wild, and then they'll do dun, 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 and they'll play this thing again while he and Trey trade places again. And if you go to the Phish stats and you look at all the songs that they played, "Hold Your Head Up" is like by far the song that they do you know this, Anne? The song that they played the most, because every time they play it, it gets a double.
That's funny. That's going on my list of things to research later. That's awesome.
Moses Heaps, Moses DeWitt. Okay, yeah. So he's also known as Phish. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage, Henrietta, and he's got a handful of nicknames, as they all do. We've got Big Red, we've got Leo, we've got we got Troy Pistachio. We've got a bunch of them. Okay, sorry. Aside from Phish, he's played with groups like Pork Tornado, whose CD I have right over here, and Jazz Mandolin Project. Who's the other leader of Jazz Mandolin Project?
Jamie Macefield.
Jamie Macefield. Okay.
They used to come to Dots quite a bit. I would always slide in the booth with Jamie Macefield.
Nice.
For
he wrote a senior study at Goddard College called "A Self-Teaching Guide to Drumming," written in retrospect. We should find that.
We should find that.
Yeah, but long before forming one of Jamrock's Jamrock. I can almost live with Jamrock. Better than Jam Band.
Jam Band. Yeah.
I like Jamrock. It's like Dave's, because that's kind of Jamrock. Long before forming one of Jamrock's biggest bands, Fishman was just a kid from Syracuse who liked Led Zeppelin and loved Frank Zappa. Mammalian protuberances.
Hey, vinyl community. And he got the mammalian protuberances. All right, the worst kid in band. When Fishman first started drumming in middle school, he was, by his own admission, no good. Ta ta ta. I was the worst drummer in my school band, he says. There were 5 kids in the percussion section, and I was the bottom of the barrel. 3 kids would get to play the drum set, and the other 2 kids were relegated to tambourine and bass drum. I was the tambourine kid.
No.
Most of his experience at the time came from trying to mimic his favorite bands, Queen, Led Zeppelin, Genesis, and the like. When he discovered visions of the Emerald Beyond by Mahavishnu Orchestra, he decided to take some lessons so he could learn jazz.
His father, Leonard, hooked him up with SAMMY's Hall of Famer Dave Hanlon, who, at the time, played with the band called Crack, C-R-A-C. The father-son duo would go see the band during sound check at bars, and Fishman got to meet the players. I was getting to see a real live rock band here, Fishman said. I got turned on by that. I'm a little kid and there's these fancy instruments. I felt really cool. Fishman took a handful. Oh, go for it.
No, you go. You go.
Okay, Fishman took a handful of lessons from Hanlon, which proved his light bulb moment. After high school, he would leave Syracuse for college in Vermont. He would eventually join guitarist Trey Anastasio, bassist Mike Gordon, and keyboardist Paige McConnell to form Phish, which allegedly took its moniker from the drummer's last name.
Oh, there we go. Definitively.
Allegedly, Anne.
Okay. There's something also about Country Joe and the Phish being Trey's first band or first concert. Okay. And I think the Fishman meets Country Joe and the Phish is sort of like folkloric crossover for name of the band. All right. Now we're gonna get.
What was your first concert? What was your first concert? What was your first concert?
Mine?
Very first concert ever.
I can't.
You don't know this off the top of your head?
Well, yeah, there's 2, and I can't place the years. So my dad took us to Six Flags Great Adventure to see the Four Tops. And I don't know if that was before or after. We went to Yankee Stadium for a Yankees game on July 3rd, maybe 1985 or 6. And it was Great Balls of Fire. What's his name? Jerry Lee Lewis. And
wow. That's a good one.
Somebody else. Yeah, like rock and roll and Motown was my first stuff. But I did see Whitney Houston in 4th grade at Madison Square Garden. Wow. Ooh, I Want to Dance with Somebody tour. That was probably like my first big concert. That was epic. I was with Dara Healy. Her dad sent a limo to pick us up from Westchester. We went to Fiorello's for dinner. There are just these things that stick out.
Yeah.
Dara Healy was not Jewish. This was just like a Westchester thing. This is like what these big banker guys do for their kids because they never spend time with them. So they're like, I'll send you a limo and blah, blah, blah. But anyway, that was a great concert. We were in the skyboxes and threw popcorn at everybody out of the skyboxes. We were such brats.
That's funny. At a Whitney Houston concert.
Yeah. Whitney Houston was like my first like big real concert. That's pretty epic. Fucking Whitney. I will always love you. All right. Anyway,
not bad. Okay.
I'm so getting into it. It's not 7 a.m. in Japan for me.
It's your turn. It's your turn. Fish, it's your turn.
This is the part where we get all the articles are kind of the same. You guys have heard this. Phish started off like any band in the 1980s, playing college halls and house parties. But while most of America was listening to Michael Jackson and Cyndi Lauper, and maybe even Whitney Houston, my friends, these 4 kids from Vermont were playing psychedelic funk. Needless to say, it took a while to catch on. Those early days, Fishman said, were a point of concern for his father, an orthodontist. His parents were both supportive of his decision to play the drums for a living, but his father always encouraged him to have a backup plan.
Orthodontistry.
Dentistry. Maybe that's where N2O comes from. Open up a little wider.
This is only gonna hurt a little bit.
Yeah,
okay, well, to bite down, whatever it is.
All right.
Okay, it wasn't until the end of 1994 that both his parents began to grasp the scope and success of this little weird band from Vermont. Phish had been booked at Madison Square Garden on December 30th that year and sold out the storied arena. There's the marquee that says Madison Square Garden welcomes Phish. Fishman said, "It's a big moment. After the concert, he comes to me and goes, 'I'm really glad you stuck to your guns.'"
That's awesome. I
It's
gotta
pretty
tell
awesome.
I gotta just tell a quick story about
Pretty
Madison
awesome.
Square Garden. December 30th, 1994. It was my second Phish show. And me and my high school friends were up in like the 400s. And they played Wilson. Bump, bump. And everybody's going, Wilson. I think it's on a live one. And my friend Lauren LaFaso was like, "What are they saying? We're stoned? We're stoned." Bun-up, bun-up. It's like one of these sort of gem moments of formative, girlfriends being silly at Phish. But I always think that when they play Wilson, we're stoned. Bun-up. Anywho, Crash and Burn. By 2000.
Well, wait. It's a real good chance to just talk about Wilson just for 1 second. That's the one song that people know, that tend to know about Wilson, because Russell Wilson, I think, is the player's name.
Yes, he used to play for the Seahawks. Then I think he came to Denver. He lost his song when he moved here.
Oh, did he? Okay.
I think.
Well, that made it interesting. Wilson is a funny little facet of Phish, a funny little rabbit hole to go down. Wilson, why are they singing this lyric, Wilson? Why would you know the song Wilson? Why do they have a song Wilson? Is it a reference to like Castaway Wilson? Tom Hanks? No, it actually preceded that by a very long time, and it goes back to Trey's musical senior thesis, like his college musical thesis. We mentioned on earlier episodes that his mother was involved with the Sesame Street magazine, I think, and he was kind of like got to go to Broadway a lot, and he was sort of obsessed with Broadway plays and show tunes, and he wrote his own epic opus. He wrote his own epic opera, basically, and he made this fantasy world of the lizard people who go to try to fight the evil King Wilson for harmony in the valley. And the king takes their special knowledge, and it's the quest of the revolutionaries to take down the king and to get back and to bring harmony to the thing. And it's this really cool little world.
Aaron Wolf, who succumbs to avarice and greed.
It goes in this, it's a really fun thing, and they've built upon it over the decades. And it's but Wilson is the evil King Wilson. You play Mario Brothers, he's the Bowser, he's the guy, he's the big boss at the end of the thing, right? He's the big baddie in our world. And so when we say Wilson, that's evil Phish. That's we like Wilson. We don't hate on Wilson. Wilson is like a facet of ourselves that's, a little dark and twisted, a little demented, a little dissonant. So
this is part of the lore. There's got to be a lore with any sort of fringe world, right? And this is we're
gonna have a Gamehenge episode. This whole universe that he made is called Gamehenge. And when they start playing these songs, there's a suite of songs it's officially 12 songs or something, but there's all these other extra songs that have come and gone along the way, and they never play the whole thing in its entirety. They never play the entire Gamehenge suite
until one day.
Okay, until they do. But that's a little, when we go to see the shows, we start off in one little mindset, and then we get to go to another mindset, and then we go to slow down and speed up and get to this place, and then sometimes we get to go to the Gamehenge, like, oh nice, we're getting a Gamehenge moment. And sometimes the Gamehenge moment goes longer than we expect, and then it's like we all know the story, and we won't, like, it's insufferable to some of you, but so we won't get into it. But it's fun. It's a fun little imaginary universe.
We got
We
into
did.
it.
But Wilson's the
We'll
hero
come
or
back
the
to Game
anti-hero. We'll
Hinge.
come
I
back to
like
Game Hinge.
that. I like
Okay,
that.
sorry.
All right. Crash and burn. Are we ready to move on?
We're stoned.
Isn't that so funny? Thank you, Lauren. That's like will never leave me. It's been over 30 years, 31 years. All right. By 2004, Phish had established itself as a musical force. Critics dubbed the band torchbearers of the Grateful Dead thanks to a ravenous horde of dedicated followers. But after a decade of massive tours, festivals that shut down interstates, and nearly a dozen studio albums, Phish decided to call it quits. The hiatus capped off a series of rocky years and would last half a decade. Over 60,000 people attended a series of farewell shows in Coventry, Vermont.
The break, Fishman said, was a low point. Looking back on it, he said he would have told his 1994 self to make sure it doesn't go to your head. That was the real crash and burn, he said. I thought we were never coming back. How many bands have we seen come and go in a heartbeat? The band reunited in March 2009 with 3 shows at the Hampton Coliseum in Virginia. At the final Hampton show, Anastasio led an impromptu happy birthday for Fishman's father, who was celebrating his 76th birthday.
I love that. Today, the band is back at it, touring and putting out new music like last year's Fuego. Plans for this year's summer tour are expected any day. For Fishman, his father's words of encouragement after that Madison Square Garden show still resonate more than 20 years later.
No one expected that Phish would last 33 years and that this band would still be going now, Fishman said. But that moment with my dad at Madison Square Garden, I'm going to remember that as a father with my kids. It's good to hear that.
And now it's 43 years later because this
really
article
crazy.
is 10 years old.
I
Pretty
mean,
fascinating.
I had a little thing. My dad has been nothing but behind me 1,000% on every decision that I've ever made in life. He's just like one of those dudes.
Your dad is an amazing man.
He's just a good dude. And but he recently shot down something. And yes, he did. He shot it.
You are a man and a father now, Brian.
I know. I'm wondering in hindsight, it's his way of saying like, dude, I'm not gonna tell you. You got to figure it out on your own.
Yeah, this could be your differentiation as a generational man
kind
of moment.
Even though it's this really juvenile thing, and
will you not?
Yes, exactly. But I think every son is hoping to hear, "I'm really glad you stuck to your guns" from their father. It's a thing that, it's a little bit of a Cinderella Disney story ending, but still, you do. I mean, I get it every time I talk to my dad. Lucky enough, but I think a lot of people, they're constantly.
That's really interesting. So I have a son who has a father, and it's been really interesting journey to watch the two of them as Milo is gone for a year of college. He's in art school. Dave is a musician, so he's an artist. Their overlap might slightly be coming together now. And actually, Dave hired Milo to make a concert poster for him. And I think that that's just really, really kind of tender for me to see this overlap in aesthetic worlds of my son and his dad. And the poster is really, really cool. I think he's still working on it, but yeah.
Cool.
Can
Well, real quick about the dad thing. So Fish's they sing happy birthday to Fish's dad.
Yeah.
Page's dad, we mentioned earlier, came out and did this soft shoe shuffle, right?
Oh, it's so cute.
Trey's mom was in the movie, as was his dad.
Yeah.
And
Between Me and My Mind is the movie. If anyone wants to.
Between Me and My Mind, it's out there somewhere. Is the most recent Phish video offering. And Mike plays with his daughter out on the side on the riverbanks or whatever. They play songs together. And I just want to point out that the band is not, you know, and Sue, Trey's wife, who I don't know, but it seems like in that between, what's it called again? Between me and my mind.
Between me and my mind.
Between me and my mind, they're pretty candid about how they've had a couple of rocky patches. I mean, I don't know what they said, and you can tell she's a little bit uncomfortable on camera, but you know, she's in the pictures, and he mentions her by name and all the things. You're mentioning your family by name. I don't know, in a way, you know, when we talk about like what we appreciate beyond the music, it's things like this that I really kind of connect. I identify with, you know.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Trey's candid about his struggles, and you know, not that it parallels mine exactly, but I get a great deal of inspiration from things that are completely outside of the music.
Yeah.
And so to hear Phish, you know, talking about, you know, he's not self-deprecating per se, but he's like, you know, why am I getting it? I'm the luckiest kid on the earth. Like, why does the luckiest kid on earth get a free lunch? You know, it's all these other people. So I'm inspired by that little thing. Just the, you know, I'm just inspired by that. So, yeah. I wanted to mention that. I interrupted you.
No, that's okay. I think the word you're looking for is maybe a sort of humility that he has. Like he knows that he is so incredibly blessed, and I think he can point to, these are the people that are the reason that I am so blessed, and I get to just kind of ride this comet, but there's more here than meets the eye. The other thing I was going to say is that Mike Gordon these days, you know, he took away all his amps and cabinets on the stage, and he's got this cool rumble pad that he stands on. There's actually a vest that goes with it. And now he has this beautiful piece of art behind him on stage that is his mother's, and his mother had done a series. Yeah, the Minkin. She had done a series of art pieces and big scale backdrops, stage backdrops that followed Phish in the 90s, and I think it's really cool. They're very family.
The prototype before the giant, you know, light apparatus that eventually did come, but it was ambitious pieces, huge scale things. Mike Gordon's mother, is Marjorie Minkin, who is somewhat a celebrated artist, I think, in New York.
Yes.
And she's on the, you know the tune.
Maybe in Mass. They're from Sudbury, Mass. Not New York, but it's all very close in there. Brian, we're gonna read another article, are we not?
Okay, hold on. You gotta bring up this awful photo.
Learning to love Phish.
Wait, that picture does not do it justice. Let me take it over.
You have the color. You have the color.
Look at this awful suit. These guys cannot dress.
Who's got the worst suit? Who are you thinking? Fishman?
Literally, who's got
a gray suit? Oh my god!
Trey's wearing a red shirt with a black suit, no tie, like a blood red.
He does best with a hipster look. Let's be honest.
Oh my god, Mike has got the worst haircut. He's like looks like Farrah Fawcett. He's got this. It's like, even if his suit wasn't bad, Fishman is wearing like a taupe, like a blue taupe.
Is it blue?
Shirt.
Okay, light blue. Yes,
it's like bluish green. It's like sea breeze with a matching sea breeze tie and an orange shirt. Oh my god! And like, look at and then Paige has like he's got like a 70s tie from his dad. Is like, can I borrow this?
Circa 2003, and even though it's 22 years ago, we do kind of expect that they would have had a tad bit of style, but I don't know why. That seems like a misguided inference.
Oh my god, it's so awful.
All right, Brian, let me say something before we go on. I want to run and use the bathroom because this is a long article.
Okay, me too. I want to get a coffee. So everybody take 5. I think this will kill. Well, yeah, no. Let's all take 2. Let's all go. Let's take a little.
Let's take
intermission. 2. We don't have
do you have some music to play?
Yeah, I guess so. I could play some. I think. I don't know.
I could maybe play something and take my headphones out here, but we should have a little intermission music. Perhaps.
Can you hear that?
No.
No, you can't.
No.
Okay.
Oh.
Anyway.
Strains. All right, let's take a 2-minute break, folks.
2-minute break, folks. We'll be right
We'll
back.
be back. Smoke them if you got them.
This is when you need the. Yeah, we'll be right back. Maybe I have.
We'll figure this part out for episode 6. So we'll get some interlude music. I'll be right back.
You go do your thing. I'll get something.
Oh boy, oh boy.
I'm gonna mute her just so she doesn't do anything silly. Okay, this is the way it goes. It's fun though. I'm not gonna fuck with this. Just you guys just hang out. We'll be right back. Okay, all 5 of us are still here. I just thought of something funny. Can I ask you to hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't already? Tokyo Record Style. It's just like I'm streaming here because this is my YouTube channel, and hey, go sub to Andrea. That's the plan. You should do that. She says she's not like doesn't have anything to say on a YouTube channel yet, but I'm gonna encourage her to. Let me go see if I can find her. I might not be able to find her. No, wait, maybe I can. Let's go searching for her together. Hold on, we'll do it. God, I want to get better at this. I really, really do. Chauncey's in the house. What's up, Chauncey? What am I doing? YouTube. Oh, Stunty's live. I hope you guys go watch Stunty too. Here, just to be nice. Sorry, Stunty. I'm going to drop Stunties here in case anybody needs to have some background music too. Maybe you can have one speaker in one ear and one in the other. What's up, Nathan Gray in the house? What's up, dude? Nice to have you here. 4D's in the house. There's the link to Stunty's show in case anybody wants to go have some background music on. And I muted you. I'm unmuting you. Hey there. Just because I didn't want you to like.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, great.
What's your YouTube channel, Ann?
My YouTube channel is Feather Girl 333. And I have nothing up there, but I did try last night to record an intro video. But
well done.
I tried. I can't post it. It's not okay. I maybe need some notes. I got all self-conscious.
Okay. Hey,
but
I'm
trying. I added to our doc.
I'm impressed. I was not expecting to hear that.
No, but the place to really like follow me and my life is on Instagram. I would suggest Feather Jaw Mama. No, I like the follows. I have an interesting life and I like what I post. I like photography and cool design. I just put up some new pictures of this fucking epic chair that I sort of co-designed with a friend of mine who's an upholstery artist, and I'm living. Oh God, it's fucking amazing. Yeah, it's a wing. It's a vintage American horsehair wingback chair that I got for $50. And then I took it up to the sew shop in Lyons. I got this amazing fabric in Budapest a couple years ago, and we mixed it up with hot pink velvet, and it's just like really wild stuff. So yeah, no, you guys,
Okay.
please do feel free to follow me on Instagram, Jaw
Okay.
Mama,
Hold on.
JAH Jaw.
I'm putting my Instagram in here first. You guys follow
Jaw
me too.
Mama.
I'm pulling up
Um,
yours too.
it would be fun. There's a lot of like, here's the cute things the kids say to me in like letters, or here's my band, or here's I don't know, just cool shit I see, or here's my like
Andrea's
little
just fun. She's just cool. She just sees cool shit. You gotta go follow
oh.
Andrea for her cool shit.
I think I got some cool shit. I try and like
You do. You're
photograph
fine.
the
You're
world the way it makes me feel. That's kind of what I think I'm doing on Instagram a little bit.
fine. So, okay, the doozy here.
All right, the doozy. Now, we are terrible at reading straight through. I think you guys know that now.
I thought of something. Hold on. Sorry. This is exactly to your point. I thought of something really interesting.
Yes. Yes, it
I thought of
is.
something while on the coffee break. I was
Okay.
thinking there's like 5 of us watching here. There's 6 of us watching. And like I'm having the fucking best time,
I
right?
love that.
Right? And I
Yes,
was thinking of this
yes.
moment in Bittersweet Hotel where he's like Rolling Stone just published, their top touring acts. We're not Phish. Trey's talking about his band Phish. We're not on it, and we're having and nobody's paying attention to us, and we're having like the best tour of our lives. That's what I feel like right now. I appreciate this
Our
very much.
podcast is like 97 Phish, where we're rocking so hard for our 5 people and ourselves, but like
They're not
nobody's
even
caught on
97
yet.
Phish people. These are like who are these crazies?
Oh
But
lordy. That's okay. It's
yeah,
all about
it's
persistence.
very
You
fishy.
just do what you love, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
you have a
yes.
job, you have a family, I have a job, I have a family, but we love each other. We love this band. We like to read. I love to read. You love to read. So we're just doing this thing. Without love in the dream, Brian, it'll never come true. A wise man once wrote.
Okay, you heard it here.
You heard it here.
Dreams don't come true. You gotta love them. All right.
That's a Grateful Dead lyric. Come on. Without love
What
in the
is
dream, it'll
that?
never come true.
I don't even know. Say it again. What's the
Without love in the dream, it'll never come true.
from what song?
Okay, hold on. Crippled but free. Yeah.
That's Estimated Profit, maybe. That's Estimated Profit and
Anyway, it's in there.
whatever that little suite of songs are. Okay. All right, sorry.
It's a great line. It's a good one. All right. Learning to Love Phish by Ivy Nelson, October 27th, 2021. An epic fall for Phish, 2021. One writer's voyage into the jam band's silly, obsessive, funky, terrifying cosmos. Kick us off, Bri.
I used to hate Phish. Their music is inherently uncool, like the washed up refuse of classic rock, prog, or whatever you want to call what Zappa did fused into hideous sound sculpture. It rejects whatever you think of as tasteful or intelligent or even humorous. None of these standards are meaningful within the realm of Phish. Lyrics are nonsensical, silly, and or corny, with few exceptions. Arrangements can be perversely convoluted, moving more like Saturday morning cartoons than songs, a warehouse of various Acme explosives going off. The members of the band are aggressively unbeautiful singers. I agree. I think so. And I love this aspect about it. I mentioned it before, especially when they attempt to harmonize. And the relationship with their fans can register as an annoying in-joke, especially when the band shows its jams with strange signals and secret language only legible to the devoted. Everything I knew about Phish from afar made them look too involved, too obnoxious, too myopic. If I tried to enter their universe, I assumed I would bounce off an invisible wall. It's a heavy opener.
I like the writing. It's bold.
That's the stage. Yeah. It's bold.
Ivy Nelson.
I agree with
year,
everything. It's funny, like every diehard Phish head knows exactly what she's talking about. You know, I think.
it goes back to black licorice. It is offensive on so many levels, but if you like it, you like it.
I like not liking it. I like trying to like black licorice the same way I learned to like. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't that hard to like this band for me, but like I feel like I certainly during the break I was like, "Fuck this band. Good riddance. Good fucking riddance to them." And I'm never gonna listen to this band again. And I mean, I get where she's coming from. I totally get it.
And then
anyway,
you did.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, it's your take it away.
All right.
You read a couple. Or maybe should you read one or two? They're kind of long.
All right.
Whatever you want to do.
I'll just go. If it feels right,
whatever
I'll
you
keep
want
it.
to do. Yeah.
All right. Last year, a few months into the pandemic, I was just starting to retreat into the art that dominated my adolescence. 90s Paul Thomas Anderson movies, anime, Pink Floyd. When I noticed my friend Jess embarking on a similar project, ranking and writing down their impressions of every Phish studio album that came out before their first hiatus in 2000. Focusing on the group's studio work was an unusual approach, as most seasoned fans are committed to feeling indifference or outright loathing towards their studio albums. They'll swear that attending a show in person is the only proper gateway into the band. Phish fans are more judgmental than people who love a band like Phish have any right to be, the author writes parenthetically. But as I read Jess's post, there was something about the energy of their writing, the effusive love they exhibited for Phish, while acknowledging and embracing how many things are outright embarrassing about them, that made me want to see what they saw. I started with 1998's The Story of the Ghost, in part because I'd always found the cover art a little unsettling. A painting by George Condo of a giant gerbil-like apparition dressed in flowing white robes, the cartoon cuteness of the creature's face growing very sinister. Whenever I realized its nose was actually a second face, just as cute as the first, I queued up the first track from it, Ghost, figuring it would give me a sense of whether I should dig further.
Out of a soup of ambient fog, I heard funk, a bass line that was on the verge of being slapped. I hadn't expected this and immediately lost my footing. Guitar lines were swaying like light bulbs on chains.
Ooh.
The vocal melody fell at an angle that didn't match anything else happening in the song, like narration projected onto a screen after the final scene of a haunting. Only later did I discover that the song was written and road tested as Phish were developing an improvisational style they dubbed cowfunk, shorthand for funk music played by four white guys from Vermont. I did not know that.
I didn't know that either, but that works.
Tracked. That's funny. Yeah. It was impossible to tell if I liked it at all. I only knew that it made me feel uneasy, like I was watching something dark and grim crawl out of it. I had to hear a live version immediately.
Ooh.
Hold on. Can I keep going? I'm gonna
keep
going.
Please do. Please do.
I'm gonna go.
I want to go pause for this.
Hold on. After a few minutes of research, I learned the most acclaimed Ghost Jam is from the 1997 show at Denver. I forgot about that. So singular, it is referred to among fans as simply the Denver Ghost. Shall we stop? I'll stop there for a second.
So
we were at the Denver Ghost.
We were at the Denver Ghost. Here's what I remember. Okay. We went to Jason Audi and Dylan's house before the show.
Barbara, what was his name? Dylan Barbarosi or something. Cool dude.
Yeah, Barbarosi from 3rd Street Chai.
Right.
If you drink chai, you might know those guys. And Jason might have been in his homemade absinthe journey at that point. Do you happen to remember that?
No, I do not. We're talking about Jason Audi. Yeah. Okay. I'm listening.
and we caravan down there. And
with Jason and Dylan, that was in our crew.
Yeah.
Okay, that I had amazing shows with them. I have great memories of Vegas shows, of Salt Lake, of Denver. I have like a great memories of hanging with those guys at shows.
Denver 97. So
Okay.
fun. Yes.
So Monster Ghost, that happens. There's the Denver Ghost, there's the Alpine Ruby Waves, there's the Tahoe Tweezer. Like every once in a while, there's a jam so epic, so huge that it gets its own status in the Phish
sort of moniker,
archive. Right. This version, well, hold on, I want to stop there also for a second. So she's talking about this Denver Ghost, but before that, she's talking about, you know, how true fans of the band are insisting that you have to go experience, that Phish is purely experiential, and that you can't access the band without, you know, just via their discography, which I couldn't disagree with more. And I've said this numerous times.
This is where you and I have a little bit of a disconnect.
That's fine. We can all, it's like
many people in the Phish community. Yes.
Yeah, so she's talking about how her friend is like ranking all the albums from basically Phish 1.0, and she's finding, you know, this sort of love and embarrassment sort of intriguing, and I just think that's really cool. I don't think you necessarily have to like go into live recordings. I mean, like if you told, like, I love Bruce Springsteen, and I know that there's people who love Bruce Springsteen like we love Phish, and like they listen to live Bruce like we listen to live Phish, and like I can't go, but I never actually went and listened to a live Bruce record until I did, and actually, come to think of it, I'm kind of eating my own words because it was like the best thing I ever saw ever. You've seen Bruce Springsteen? Man, that guy puts on a show.
I never have, but my uncle, my dad's brother, Michael, he was lived in New Jersey his whole adult life after they moved out of the Bronx, probably in the 70s, and he was such a Bruce Springsteen fan. He probably saw Bruce like 30 times, quite a lot, which is so funny. I never actually put it together that maybe something about my dad's brother's rabid love for Bruce could potentially be something about maybe related to, like, well, why wouldn't this be normal in my family? You guys love Bruce Springsteen, I get to love Phish. So maybe that's actually an interesting thing to think about.
Man. It's euphoria. It's the thing
that
hell yeah. There's a moment in a Leon Russell song where he says, in a Leon Russell concert that's on a live recording, he says, I just want anybody out there who hasn't had a religious experience tonight, I want you to go back to the door and get your money back because I don't want it, you know?
That's funny.
And when I watched that Bruce Springsteen show, that was what I was like a revival. I felt saved. I was saved by Springsteen. And at every Phish show, not every Phish show, but there's glimpses of it in every Phish show. You always are constantly in a state of tension and catharsis, I feel like. Okay,
that's why I quite enjoy the live experience, because it does have a sort of revival spirit. There is that spirit in the room. People gather, there's so much energy, there's so much expectation, and then the music just like rips you open. It's fun.
An album to me is like, it's so cozy. It's so
familiar. It's like a long exhale.
It's like a blanket. It's like I can take a nap with it on, and I'm like, oh, I know this is so familiar. It's like I know the smell of it, you know?
Yeah.
And there's so much like it's so fun to look at. There was just a video that went around the internet of Trey playing YEM when he's like freaking 17 years old.
Oh,
like, and it's the same thing. It's the same song. He's like on a stage and it's really bad VHS like recording, and he's just goofy. And he's not 17. He's like 26 or something. But the video's so old, and he's not even like developed. He's not even like fully grown. And it's just funny. It's fun to see like the evolution of it, and to compare the studio recording to the live version of it. I always feel like the studio version is the definitive version. That's where I think a lot of us depart. Some people say, no, the Denver Ghost is the definitive Ghost, not the one on the actual album. Anyway,
let's read about the Denver Ghost, shall we?
Okay, this version, which expands the 4-minute studio version into a 21-minute odyssey, sounds like it's falling apart as it's being played, giving it the draggy energy of a tangle of wires. When Phish inch past the song's compositional limits into unknown space, Trey Anastasio, the band's guitarist and primary songwriter, starts playing stuttery disco scratches over Mike Gordon's bass notes, which sink so far behind the beat, it's like they're stepping in quicksand. No one member appears to be leading. Key. Instead, each contributes to a running dialogue shared by the four of them. You can hear the synth tone that resembles a choir of bees emitting from some tier of keyboardist Paige McConnell's expansive synth rig, while drummer John Fishman reduces his drumming to expressive, atmospheric triplets on his cymbals. All of this sails us far beyond wherever the groove was before we were floating in space. Hearing the jam alone, not knowing who played it, I would have assumed I was listening to the krautrock band Noi, which is when I thought, oh, I like this. Which is when I thought, oh no, I like this. Which
That's
is a
funny.
really funny. She's good.
I don't know
like
what Neo is or new.
Noi.
Noi.
Oh, like krautrock. Noi. Krautrock. Cool. Yeah, krautrock. You know krautrock. Krautrock.
Yeah, it's like German punk.
Yeah, it's sort of German prog. I'm almost would call it. It's like it's got like Kraftwerk and
yes, all right,
electronica and experimental and but also like Pink Floydy and yeah, I mean I think it's just basically prog rock that German artists make. But Noi is like adjacent to Tangerine Dream or a Pink Floyd or a Can.
A little more psychedelic.
And yes, it does get punky, if you will. It does get like it can go there. It's there's like no rules, I would say. I don't really
Right.
I've never really tried to explain krautrock. But yeah, precursors to like new wave and no wave and
all right, okay.
Yeah. Listenable, more listenable than like a punk record. Ambient kind of in the soundscape of krautrock, I'd say. And somebody correct me if they think krautrock is something a little bit different.
Alrighty. Continue.
Yeah, I don't have any Noi records, but they're kind of it's all you. The thing is,
I didn't always hate Phish. After reading about it on a Smashing Pumpkins message board, I convinced my parents to buy me a copy of Phish's 2000 studio effort, Farmhouse, when I was 13 years old. I was charmed right away by the opener, the album's title track. The melody, nicked from Bob Marley's No Woman, No Cry, a song I hadn't heard yet, kept getting stuck in my head. I gravitated towards the song's yearning melancholy, even though I couldn't make heads or tails of the lyrics, which were quoted directly from a note Anastasio and his songwriting partner Tom Marshall found in, yes, A Farmhouse. The song cracks open like a beer can. That's funny, it does. And Anastasio sings, "Welcome, this is a farmhouse. We have cluster flies, alas. And this time of year is bad." And for some reason, at 13, I found this unbearably emotional. Farmhouse gets meager on the second side, foreshadowing the hiatus Phish were about to take. When they reunited in 2002, I gave a cursory listen to their comeback album, Round Room, but found myself attached to only a few songs and none of the lyrics, which remained embarrassing but had now grown dense, contemplating cosmic insignificance in only the most forced rhyme schemes. They lost me, and I spent the next 18 years building up fortifications against Phish, insulating myself from the possibility of ever liking them again. The Denver Ghost ate through these defenses in 20 minutes.
Shortly thereafter, shortly thereafter, I found myself listening to complete shows. I love that beer crack thing.
Yeah, it's so true. Yeah.
Welcome. This is a
Isn't
farmhouse.
it so fun where
That's,
you can like totally conceive of something in a new way because somebody put like a little boundary around it that makes sense. It totally has that feel. I love that.
yeah.
Thanks,
Michael,
Ivy.
my round room partner, his favorite. He's a round rimmer.
Yes.
Round rimmer is his record. And
He's
then
a 3.0 kid.
2.0 or
2.0 kid. Yeah. Sorry.
the rarest
2.0.
of the kind. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Shortly thereafter, after she found herself like, what was it? The Denver ghost, the Denver ghost that ate through her fortifications and defenses in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Shortly thereafter, I found myself listening to complete shows. I would even catch myself chuckling during set filler and in jokes, like the barbershop quartet rendition of Free Bird. What a class, what a crowd pleaser. There was no limit to the band's silliness, and the degree to which I was willing to endure this silliness astonished me. How could this have happened? How could I have gotten obsessed with a band whose appeal so orbited around their live shows, which averaged 2.5 hours in length and were rife with nonsense, when I couldn't see them, let alone anyone else live? When I couldn't see
Live.
them, let alone anyone else live. Got it.
Because she's
Had
writing
I
in the pandemic. It's like she's contextualizing us again.
Thank you for the context there. Had I lost all standards of taste when pandemic swept through, eliminating whatever life I knew before and replacing it with an eternal, unstable present? Yes, you lost all standards. That's what it takes to
all
love
of
this
us.
band. Okay.
Yeah.
Take it away. Yeah, go for it. Soon
eternally unstable present. That's where we are? Okay.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Soon, I was taking Phish shows with me on my nightly walk in the park, which forced me to focus my attention on the tiny and major developments of each set. It helped my brain settle after a typical workday in July 2020, when every one of my thoughts exploded before it could form. I was too anxious to read. Books often put me far too in touch with my brain's running monologue of panic. And it helped that Phish sets flow like narratives, arranged so that songs from wildly different places of their career can feel produced by the same mood. They reminded me of DJ mixes, selection, sequencing, between song transitions, pacing. Phish employ all of these techniques to tell a story. Sometimes that story is just about how the band felt that day. There's an infamous show in Amsterdam from 1996 where, after sampling the local weed, the band could not get their jams off the ground at all. They wandered in place for many minutes, stranded in a stoned, thoughtless nowhere. Sometimes the story is one of relief and gratitude, like the first few years of shows after Anastasio completed rehab and the band reformed in the late 2000s. Sometimes the story they tell is grim and terrifying, where you're adrift between the stars because your tether to the space station has snapped. I just got to say, there's a couple times in this where I keep thinking of your Volkswagen line from earlier, that story. You're like, where's the shoelace? I got to fix this shit and get home.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Phone
I digress.
home. No.
The second
you
set,
do. You get lost. What song is this? Still Lawn Boy? Where are we? Is this
totally.
Tuesday? What's the? Yeah, you get taken to those places. It's a spaceship to get to those places.
It really, really is. It's sometimes a spaceship, sometimes it's a time machine. There's a lot in the vehicles.
It says they say, like, she's saying here, it's kind of like a mix. The selection, sequencing, between song transitions, pacing. These are all things that Fish and Boy. That takes me back to like making mixtapes for girls when I'm a teenager, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And writing the little, cassette jackets and, and trying to say like, this is going to make you feel really, this is going to, I read recently that like mansplaining is a thing that has been sort of mischaracterized. It's like, it's so primal, like a mansplaining thing where it's like a guy has like basically collected these nuts, and he wants to share his
Of course he fucking wants to share his nuts with you. That's the problem with mansplaining, Brian.
Well, what I'm saying is that
Hey, look at my
he
nuts.
wants to oh, I'm just gonna bury myself deeper if I try to go
let's
here.
do it. I love
Well,
this
I don't
part.
even know if I can explain it because I barely
No, come
remember
on,
it. But it was just
mansplaining.
he was just saying that like when you it was a therapist who was saying, it was like, and a woman, I think, that was saying that you know, every time you take a guy down for trying to you don't understand, he's not trying to like you know, necessarily he's not trying to like teach you or to condescend to you or to patronize you. He's trying to appeal to you. And when you kind of like cut him down for, you know, I already know this, he's lost the chance to do some primal thing that he's done to try to win you over. And when you make a mixtape for somebody, I like, there's a perfect example. It's like, I'm not trying to teach you this song so that you now know it because I'm the keeper of the knowledge, and only now can you know the song. It's like, I'm gonna get to share this with you because I care about you, and this is my way of explaining it to you. So anyway, yeah, you can dismiss it, and I maybe didn't do a good job of explaining it.
I'm thinking. So there's a couple of things I'm thinking about. I can't remember his name, but in 9th grade, where my locker was at Yorktown High School, there was a kid who was like on the ski team and pretty cool, who made me a mixtape, and I'm totally spacing his name. He was like right down from the Rubens lockers, and Matt and Dave Rubin, the twins. I went to Hebrew school with them. But this kid turned me on to The Who, Bob O'Reilly from The Who in particular, Supertramp. Like, he made me a great mix. I never thought it was mansplaining. And I hear what you're saying about the like, this holds my feelings for you and what I'm interested in sort of opening your eyes to, and that's really lovely.
Or like, I've come
Certainly
home from the
girls
hunt.
made mixtapes for people as well, and
Yeah,
I never
it's
took
something
it as
primal. But to back to the point about how they're using these sequencing and songs transitions and like and every play in the book, you know, that's one of the things that I mean, that's one of the things we never know what we're going to get. We never know if it's going to be a good one or a bad one. And we you know, hammer this home again and again. But she says here, sometimes that tell a story of just how the band felt that day. Like that's also a great thing. Like, oh, they weren't like, somebody was in like it. I wonder if that had anything to do. If the news of that had anything to do. Generally, no, it doesn't. But you know, if you've been listening to the band for so long, there's an intuitiveness or something that you kind of tapped into, or it's like you see it. You know, like, hey man, you wrote that song for me, or you interpret it. You know, you get the meaning from it. I'm doing a bad job at this, but anyway, I like the reference here that it's like, it's a reflection of humanity is what I'm trying to say. And
being mansplained is a reflection of humanity.
No, but it's a facet of
patriarchal expression.
It's a primal thing.
Here's my nuts, girls.
It's not about a
let me show you how
status. It's not about hierarchy. I don't think.
I
that's
don't
what I'm
think
trying to say. It's not it has nothing to do with hierarchy, and it has everything to do with nuts. It has everything to do with nuts in your cheeks.
These nuts in your fucking nuts. On your chin nuts. These nuts, chestnuts.
Yvonne is in the house. Sup, Yvonne, dude. Sorry about yesterday's stream. I wasn't even paying attention to the thing. 40 man, you guys are saying, yeah, we all love a mixtape. Nice to have you. Yvonne from Harstad, Norway, is tuning in.
Yeah.
So we're
yay, Norway. We do really
you might
love
not
mixtapes.
Okay.
We might know him from what, Brian?
Oh no, he's just, now you know him. I don't think you've met him before, so now you have. I think Yvonne. This is my friend Andrea, who I've known forever, and we're talking about Phish. Okay, and Yvonne, I know Yvonne from Vinyl Community World. He's kind of a character in Vinyl Community, and he's a really interesting cat. Maybe 2 or 3 or 4 years older than, maybe a couple of years more than that. He's a breakdance dude. He's like hardcore, awesome breakdancer. He's like a product of the 80s, and he's like, we would have seen him breakdancing at the mall, and and he would have been like doing the proper like head spin and windmill, and we would have been like,
You would
whoa,
have
this guy
seen
looks
him
the
at
real
the
deal.
mall.
I would have. I
My
was
dad
a
drove
dork.
us through the Bronx. We saw
Yeah,
cardboard and crack and shit in the 80s in the Oldsmobile.
yeah. Anyway, sometimes is it me? Okay, I'm gonna go here. All right.
Their
Sometimes
second
the story.
set.
Okay, what is the second set? Did I skip something?
We stopped at the space station. Snapped. You're adrift between the stars because you're tethered to the space station. Snapped.
Oh, sorry. Stop. Okay. The second set of their November 22nd, 1997 show at Virginia's Hampton Coliseum belongs to that category. To the category of what exactly? To the drifting out in space? Is that what we're talking about? Sorry,
I think
off
so.
track
Yes.
there.
Yeah.
With a rendition of Halley's Comet killer tune that immediately swerves from the insufferable silliness of that song, crashes through the guardrail and plunges into murky waters. Even though it was impossible for me to see them amid the pandemic, this is the Phish I long to see live. The Phish that made the increasingly small space that constituted my life loom as large as the cosmos. The Phish whose silliness was just an outgrowth of something terrifying beneath it. The Phish who could open up a black hole around their worst songs, swallowing them whole and spitting them back up, turned inside out. Whatever it was, I wanted to be swallowed up by it too, and emerged from it changed.
Agreed.
Months later, as the live music industry tentatively started to reboot, I awoke to a text from Jess saying that Phish had announced their 2021 summer tour. They thought I should attend one of the Atlantic City shows. I disagree. Dimly aware that Atlantic City Phish shows historically had a distinct and playful vibe, and thinking I could make a weekend of it, I bought a ticket. I soon felt the anticipation for my first in-person show in more than a year, practically radiating from me. Oh, I'm so clunky at reading this. Go for it.
At that same moment, though, I was starting to realize how much I'd limited the scope of my appreciation for the band. Whenever I investigated a new show, I kept strictly within the boundaries of 1997 to 1999, charting the initial development of their funk sound to its ultimate evolution as a vehicle for space travel, wary of going beyond it for fear of encountering mediocre or bad Phish, or the
Very
rumored
possible.
or the rumored druggy and sickly Phish of 2004. So I set out to listen to at least one Phish show for every year they've been active, starting in 1989. I figured I'd get exhausted after sampling the first few years, but the project stretched out for more than 2 months and quickly became unwieldy. I ended up listening to and watching Phish concerts at the exclusion of all other music, except for the archival live Can record that came out earlier in the year, which I sometimes forgot wasn't a Phish show. Quick pause. We used to listen to Can at the diner in the mornings.
Yeah.
Right? It's kind of like,
yeah, Freddie's a big Can head.
Yeah, like ambient, kind of cinematic, dark,
all kinds of stuff.
They've
got a big
so fun. I
discography.
remember that. I really
Freddie's
remember.
huge, like bong. Can, and Freddie's a big krautrock. Dude.
Yeah. So is that krautrock?
Yeah,
that kind of like dark, thick, ambient, cinematic kind of. Here's your coffee, fucker, music.
Yeah, you got to be. It's got to be played a certain time of day.
I gotta
you have
jump
to
back in
apologize for a little bit for it. Yeah.
Okay. You go. Surprising.
So she's listening to every show once from every year, and she thinks she's going to get tired of it, but she doesn't. Surprising even myself. My favorite Phish live era ended up being 03 to 04. Interesting.
Shout out Dog Log, Michael. Whoop whoop. 2.0.
There you go.
Yeah, kids.
For some fans, this chapter of the band is radioactive material. Anastasio's opiate habit affected his playing, scrambling his communication with the other members of the band. And there are shows where every onstage conversation between members seems clouded and directionless. When the shows during this period work, though, they harbor jams that envelop the crowd and the band in psionic, help me out here, psionic waves, culminating in what's known as the Tower Jam of 2003 IT Festival, an entirely improvised hour-long set played from the top of a disused airport tower in the middle of the night. The lights of the tower glowing like a descended UFO.
The most instructive show I heard during the project, acting like a Rosetta Stone for their whole career, took place in 1996 when Phish were at an artistic crossroads. During the previous couple of years, their live interplay was the tightest it had ever been, their jams feeling like they could ascend through a portal in hell and exit the earth as flowers. That's gorgeous. But in October 96, they were struggling to say anything new in their improvisations, and their ambitions scaled back as they contemplated where to go next. For their Halloween show, they decided to cover Remain in Light by the Talking Heads in full. A popular theory among fans is that, in the process of trying to replicate that album's anxious funk fugues, Phish's playing changed. Before, their jam slid in and out of movements of dissonance and beauty. Now they grooved, drifted, and even floated around the hull of the ship if the occasion called for it. At its best, their improvisation could recall the dark and slanted jazz fusion of Miles Davis' Agartha or Pink Floyd album being written in real time. Here was the Phish I fell in love with most at the moment of its conception.
Never been there before. That's a pretty interesting take. Remain in Light, of course, I would almost want to say is one of the most heavy, still in rotation. Like the songs from that album are still most heavy in rotation. Cross-Eyed and Painless, I think, is off of Remain in Light.
Yeah.
And what else is on there?
All sorts of stuff,
well,
but
Cross-Eyed is definitely like gets played several times a tour, I feel like. And that's a Fishman. I think Fishman sings Cross-Eyed
yes, he
and Painless.
does. Yes, he does.
And I'm spacing, but ambitious album compared to like a Dark Side. I mean, yeah, Dark Side is like cool, but it's like, you know it by heart. It's not, I don't know if I'd call it as ambitious, or a White Album even, like as a Remain in Light. That seems like a pretty hard album to like learn.
I think it's ambitious in the sense of its locked in groove, right? Because that album, Remain in Light, it really heavily leans into this kind of locked up Afrobeat style, this like big band, something you can dance to, right? Because David Byrne, he went to art school, and his thing, I've seen him live a couple times. He always has choreography. Last time I saw him, the musicians just were on wireless. They were dancing the whole time. It was so joyous. But that infectious dance groove going back to 97 Denver Ghost, Trey says at the end of that, like, we're something like, we're just loving grooving, and we're sort of here for you guys in your dance party. I mean, he doesn't say that exactly, but he sort of alludes to it. But I think she's talking about that, like, what becomes cow funk, that like, let's just fucking disco groove it out.
I think we saw it with Sci-Fi Soldier, like Egg in a Hole and Knuckle Bone Broth. I think that was like a new thing that just emerged out of nowhere. I think that the thing that they did for the Pillow Jets of Sound, that was, those are all new inceptual moments of musical, like new moments. So I wonder if this I don't think I've ever listened to Remain in Light. I mean, I never listened to the Halloween show.
Oh,
I don't
know
so.
if
I mean, I own the album by the Talking
Heads,
but
yeah.
But I don't know if I've ever heard Fish's rendition of it. It would be, I mean, I can imagine what it would sound like, but it's an interesting take to say that is the point, to pinpoint that as the genesis of the more groovy cow funk moment in Phish. It's an interesting idea that the jams got boring in 96 or 97, like they were getting repetitive. I mean, they talk about, we read that in the last article that Page says, like, it was getting a bit repetitive, right? He says that. Anyway, you want to keep going? Is it me or is it you?
I think it's you.
Okay, after wading underneath the boardwalk and across long stretches of sand, I reached the venue for the Atlantic City show, which was just another section of beach fenced off from the rest, crowned by a stage. When the band appeared, I immediately registered that Anastasia was wearing a hoodie with a picture of a cat on it. I remember that. An intricate patterning of which reminded me of one of my cats, and I knew I had picked the right show. Okay, so the cat wasn't ominous. She was like, okay, it's the cat show. He's wearing a, oh no.
What? Your cat died.
It's almost over. I thought it was going to go on for a while. The set that followed.
Oh no! Poster nut bag.
Oh, he's dead. Your cat's dead. I don't want to go fish. The set that followed.
I don't want to go fish. I don't want to go fish.
Okay.
We'll get to that when we get to Gamehenge lore, friends.
Okay. The set that followed might as well emanated from the concert I dreamed of attending among the eerie stillness of the grass and the trees in the park during one of my pandemic walks. The lighting rig above the band looked like the ever-folding legs of a light, bright spider. Anastasio made liberal use of his loop pedal so that his guitar always sounded lost in its own light trails. Ooh, I like that. They played Reba, a pet favorite Phish song from my listening project, a fun and complex composition that always precedes a patient and lovely jam, and tends to ordain a good show. Split Open and Melt, one of their most reliably cracked jam vehicles, worked its way into a melted world where it felt impossible to organize what they were doing with a time signature. I can't read today.
You're doing great.
Okay, Split Open and Melt, one of their most reliably cracked jam vehicles, worked its way into a melted world where it felt impossible to organize when they were doing what they were doing with a time signature. Each instrument oozing into each other like 4 upturned drums of toxic slime. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay, please redeem me, please.
By the time the second set started, it became hard to register the music as improvisation, as being invented in the present, as everything that happened seemingly occurred with such fated inevitability. In the distance, a Ferris wheel glowed, and when the music quieted, I could hear nearby waves gather, collapse, and gather again. Different yet the same every time, the ocean harboring in its depths the same sense of mystery and darkness that I heard in the music enfolding me. Oh, is that the end?
Yeah.
Oh, I have like 80 pages of pictures. Oh, that's too bad. I love the comparison of like the unfolding Phish show as ceaseless ocean waves. That is kind of interesting. And
yeah, I don't. Go ahead.
I can't. I think it was 2021. Strangely, my brother and his wife and my cousins happened to be in Atlantic City that weekend. And my brother just went down to the Phish show to like smoke a cigarette or something like that. And like called me from like the Phish show, his first Phish show, which was just like on the other side of the fence on the boardwalk rather than the beach. But he's like, I'm at a Phish show, Andy, blah, blah, blah. Which is just kind of funny, I think, is my connection back to that show. But
did you ever go to an Atlantic City show?
No, the one show I wish I had been at in Atlantic City was pre-pandemic when they played that Led Zeppelin night at the Boardwalk Hall, maybe in 2012, 13, 11, something like that. But no, I mean, I've been to Atlantic City. My parents used to take us there in the summer because mom loved to sit and read her trashy novels on the beach. And then they'd, get us, throw all the kids in a room and get some like questionable babysitter and go gamble or whatever. Like the smell of banana boat suntan oil is bound up with me with Atlantic City. But no, I have not seen Phish there.
I to me, like, it doesn't, until I forgot that she's got this last line in there, but like I don't I look at a place like a fenced off portion of the beach, as like not a place I want to see Phish. And not to mention, like, apparently when you're like dancing for like 3 days in a row, when you go see Phish, you get
Oh
these
my
calves,
God.
these beach calves that are like enormous, right?
Yeah, well,
And
so yes, one of the things, so Mexico Phish is a cordon off beach spot, right? And you're basically like cross the threshold. I mean, it's not Jersey, it's Mexico, but it's samesies, it's smaller. But boy, oh boy, what a workout. It is hard work dancing on a sandy beach. Oh, poor me. I danced on a sandy beach in Mexico to Phish, but it's physically, it's pretty taxing. I'm not gonna
yeah,
lie.
something about it is like seems trashy to me. I've had it. Maybe it's maybe
Well,
it's
that's Jersey. I mean, that's a Jersey Shore. You know who Snooki is. That's why it's trashy.
well, there's probably a handful of reasons, but when she brings it back to the sound of the ocean and its very fishiness, I was like, oh, it's pretty cool actually. And you can imagine, like, from the perspective of the band. I mean, when you're in a sea of people and you can barely see over it to the sea unless you're like up above. But I don't know how it is, but I imagine the band there with like a sea of people and like the ocean and infinite nothingness out there is probably pretty impressive. And the Phish has, like, there's definitely like undery water things, and
Oh,
there's
yes.
bubbly
It's the
things, and there's
ocean flowing
singing
in our
from the
veins.
bottom, and yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
there's a lot of like under the sea motif to the Phish universe. Well, those are our two articles. I think we did it. A little anticlimactic there at the end. They talk about, like, Carrie, who I tried to mention her the other day. Like, I've heard this journey before of somebody who's like, okay, I like this. Oh no, I like this. I've heard that a few times, and there's certainly a stigma about like how uncool it is to like this band. And like, can you name one Phish? No, I can't name one Phish song. I hear people sort of like bragging about that. And I like to see somebody who's like, I gave him an honest shake and I actually found something. And I appreciated that. I've heard it a couple of times, and I don't think it's an easy task. It's like trying to love black licorice. It really is. And if it's not your thing, it takes some effort, I think. And the more you try it, and the more you do it, and the more you get into it, it's like she talks about the buffoonery and the inside jokes. And there's nothing more sort of like off-putting than like two people who when you're not in on the joke, and that's why it's like rude telling secrets. And so I can just understand how it would be, mostly insufferable to anybody who just like hasn't been there from the beginning, and who wasn't sort of, I don't know, like, I got initiated, I think, into like Rocky Horror Picture Show. Like, I remember that initiation. Do you know about this? In the Rocky Horror Picture Show, they play it inside movie theaters, and then they'll sometimes have like a live performance on
Yeah,
stage
yeah, yeah.
going on,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So we were probably 13 or 12, and my mom was like, you guys should go with the five of you. Go. Maybe we've even talked about it on here, but we walked in. Like, I think I maybe even told somebody that I had been before when I actually hadn't. I think I was trying to impress.
You were trying to fit in.
I was trying to fit in, yeah. And
Uh-huh.
I told somebody, oh yeah, I know about the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Who doesn't, or whatever it was. And then I went in there, and as soon as like we walked into the thing, it was like the record player stopped, and the entire like 100-member freak show that were completely in costume, every single member, marshmallows and tortillas and everything flying all over the place with shaving cream.
Yeah.
They looked at us, and we just got soaked with water guns.
Were you
and
not dressed up?
No, we were
You
like
didn't
12.
know anything.
We didn't know anything. We didn't know anything. And we got dragged up to the front of the stage, and my heart was pounding out of my chest. I was like, get me out of this thing. I don't want to be here. Like, I was about to like cry, and I'm just trying to like play along, and they parade you. They virgin, virgin, virgin. And I vaguely, I don't know if this actually happened or if it's just like a figment of my imagination, but I may have gotten lifted up above people's heads and got dragged to the front of the venue and like blasted with water guns and toilet
That's
paper.
funny.
It was pure, like true hazing, right?
Well, yeah,
And
it's an inside job, right? Like you
but
don't
I
know what
loved
you're
it.
getting into until you're in it, and then you're sort of mortified, horrified, and celebrated all in one big hurrah of a lift.
Yeah, it might not have been that dramatic as I'm retelling it, but it was traumatizing, but in the best kind of way. And I look back at it as like a nice and formative memory, and formative experience and nice memory. And I think like Phish, like, okay, I never had to get initiated because we were just like, not really, because we were just like growing along with the band, right? But now you'd have to like
Yeah,
to
yeah.
get into it now without having a reference point, an anchor point to just be like, oh yeah, or to have barely one, but you kind of don't even want to admit it because it's like uncool to say that actually this isn't the first time I did buy that album from that year and I did try to like it, and actually I did like some of it, but then they were too uncool to like, and it just didn't connect. And I don't know, the fact that like it clicked with this woman once. It was the Denver Ghost, where she says like, what does she say here? It says yeah, I mean,
It's
I
a
think I've lost
spaceship.
the thing. Yeah, she's just going like, yeah, it just took me to out of myself. And I don't know, are we here to convert anybody? I don't know if we're here to convert anybody. Are we here? I don't think anybody here is actually curious about Phish. If people were, they'd be like, "Oh, I was at the Denver show, or the crazy jam I saw was at the thing." And these are all people who are like, okay, I just don't get this mania and this fandom. But
Are you talking
if
about
they
our
say,
audience? I don't think we're
yeah,
trying
or
to
just
convert
anybody
anybody.
who's like, everybody's, there are these insufferable fans who insist that there's something here that I should be paying attention to, but I just do not get it. There's no amount of convincing. And I mean, yeah, so, but somebody could say that about Noi to me, or Can, or Kraftwerk, or, you're not going to like something that you don't like, and yet
Well,
somehow I feel compelled to like proselytize Phish, like you can have euphoria and catharsis and tension as well, come to
pick
church.
me, pick me, pick me. I want to say something.
Okay, sorry.
Okay. Um, there could be a sort of narrative about conversion in Phish. There could be a sort of antiquated story about how people get in or how people feel. But what I think I'm experiencing these days with Phish is that there's a younger audience, whether they are that 19-year-old kid that I sat behind or danced behind in Portland who was just like, this is fucking cool. I'm into Volkswagen buses and hippie shit. Or it's like I have so many students at school who are like, oh my God, my parents are such Phish heads. Like, I get it. We're bouncing around the room again, Miss Rawson. Or they're like, yeah, my parents took me to Mexico. It was awesome. We totally want to go again. We love Phish. I'm wearing my Phish shirt every day. I think that there's a new generative story about Phish. And I don't think it's written yet. And I also think, to go back to your point at the very beginning, will people find Phish? You and Stacey's conversation and be like, this is cool at some point in the future. I really do think the answer is yes, because the emotional response that people have, whether it is, to the black licorice point, abject disgust, or confusion, or it hurts my head, or holy shit, my chest is just open and my heart is flying away, or I have not opened my eyes in 45 minutes and this band has taken me on a journey to God knows where inside of myself and back again. I think all that stuff is very attractive and human and interesting. And I don't think it's going anywhere, especially. So, this article is written in 2021, which I think arguably is just an explosion of sound and exploration when Phish comes back from the pandemic. I think the music sounds as good as it has ever sounded, and I'm a big fan of 1.0. But I don't know. I don't think we need to convert anybody. You either want to try it, you're curious, or you don't give a fuck, and that's just kind of how music goes. Like, I can listen to music without having a record player like all you guys in the vinyl community do. It still does something for me. So I don't think we're in the habit of conversion. I think we're just a bunch of nerds over here, you and me, who like talking.
I feel like I've been like embarrassingly been trying to convert for since I'm out. Out. You know, I'm like, I
How
finally
long have
like
you been out for? Is this like
not that
podcast?
long, not that long. I
Dog
mean, I've just
log?
been the closeted fish head for a long time. There was only like you and I don't know, 10 other people,
Mike.
3 other people who I could be like, did you hear that Harry Hood from Atlantic City?
We can talk about it now. The internet exists. You can find all the people.
Yeah,
can I show you
but
something, Bri?
Yeah, sure, of course.
Okay, this is I'm gonna
like
I want to just make a left turn real quick, but
okay,
you're
go for a
always
left turn.
showing your record collection
Yeah,
that I think is very interesting for your vinyl community folks. And while my record collection is paltry and maybe a little posery because it's not even
don't be
my
cringy. Don't cringe yourself out of your own cringe.
I would say I have a really great collection of vintage psychedelic art. And I'm going to show you 2 prints that I have because I feel like people who like vinyl might really like these prints. So I'm just going to kind of show these off.
What you got?
This is an original 1967 wow. Solidine Productions San Francisco print. I know the light's kind of tough.
Dang, that's pretty cool.
I'm a huge fan of this style of psychedelic art. But yeah, sorry about the light. It's a little glaring.
No, it's okay.
But this is so cool. If I think about like album art or like why would I listen to an album for this kind of like original feel? And here's the other one. This one is fucking cool as shit. But these are OG San Francisco prints that a former mentor of mine gave my daughter actually after her dad passed away. Let's see.
The Doors? Dang.
Fuck yeah, dude.
That's pretty slick too.
Like,
yeah, like
pristine album, or I think these must have been like hung in San Francisco. 1967. They're both stamped. Pretty amazing stuff.
Wow.
Right. Wow. This is kind of what my brain sounds like on Phish. If it could like have a sort of poster art stamp on what it's like in my head, this is like the sense that I get. So I think on our show I might unveil some other kind of cool vintagey psychedelic remnants that I have floating around in my house. Isn't that neat?
Yeah, very neat. I have a poster that I want to share, but it's upstairs. Very, very. I've got very lucky to have a chance to own this poster, so I'll have to share on
the mystery.
Yeah. No, it's not that, but it's cool. You'll dig it. You'll
cool.
especially dig it.
Awesome.
Yeah. I wonder where all that. When I talked to Stacey, she said, if I go dig, I think I know somewhere. I have a bunch of stuff because when I have old posters and I have old ticket stubs. And she's told me that she went to every. I was like, so when do you remember when your first show was? And she was like, is that the Paradise? And I was like, oh, we were just talking about it's Paradise, right? The Boston Club.
Yeah, probably where Dave played, where Chakra
Yeah,
opened,
yeah.
right?
She
That's
said
probably
that
that same story.
she said when the time she saw them, it was like she was blown away and she like never missed a show. And I was like, you never missed a show? And she was like, yeah, I went and saw everything after that. And I was like, and I forgot to like ask like for how long of a run, but then it became clear to me, oh, okay, she was invested. She was really actually invested. It wasn't just like a random show here or there. She was like, no, I saw like everything for the next however long. I didn't ask her how long it was, but
You know
it would
funny?
be cool. What's that?
What's funny is that I stayed at Stacy's house when I went to the Portland show, and when she woke me up with her daughter Fable, they were so cute. We all like laid in bed for a while and just like shot the shit. But she woke me up with a photo album of all her photos from Amy's farm. And that is how we started the day in bed looking at her OG Amy's farm photo. She has, as you remember, Stacy has all those photo albums from every epic of her life. And so she's like, check this out, Anne. Like, good morning. Like, Fable will make you coffee. Here, look at Amy's farm photos. So funny. I know.
Check this out. Here's my little thing I'll show today.
A lunchbox?
Yeah.
The Beatles. Oh my God. Beatles, I know what I'm bringing next time.
Hold on.
White
and look what's inside
lunchbox?
here.
Brian. Yeah. What do you keep in there? Cables? Tapes. Ooh.
You won't be able to see it.
Pearl Jam?
And I won't be able to see it.
What's this?
Amy's Farm.
Oh, no way. That's awesome. That's really
Amy's
cool.
Farm, 91. Here, I'll read this. 91. The set list here is Wilson, Foam, Runaway Gula, Llama, Feast, Squirming Coil, Side 2, which I have. Oh, this is set 1. Okay. Poor Heart, Sloth, Device Guy, Golgi.
There might even be some filler on there. Maybe have some Chakra filler on there.
Look at this. This guy used a tape. Or did I do that? I don't even remember. It's a price tag. A price tag sticker.
Oh, yeah. Put the date on. That's funny. Oh, so many worlds for us to go into, Bri. Now I'm like, ooh, what other kind of memorabilia do I have right here? I just brought those 2 posters. Right on, friends. Okay. Well, should we call it? I feel like we
call it. I do want to say there's one more thing. I'll just there's comments. We got to read some of these comments.
Oh yeah, we haven't had any comments this whole time. 40.
No, there was a couple from just a couple minutes ago. I'll paste a couple of epic long sentences in comments after. Okay, one about New York City from Kerouac. One from Bukowski. Shakespeare never did this.
He referenced that earlier.
Okay.
Yeah.
But so long, I'll find another. Okay. Then he says here, 40 man's verbose. Let's see. And an amazing long cut up sentences from Burroughs.
Yeah.
But YouTube would delete it. Hey, why would they delete it? But there are others. Okay. Unfortunately, that's not too good. All right. And one of the long sentences, this is from our long sentence conversations by Dash Hammett from the Maltese Falcon. Ooh, that was a movie that
Classic.
I think I didn't get the first time I saw
rolling a cigarette. I want to read that sentence, 4D man. I roll my own cigarettes. I would enjoy reading that.
Okay, looks Midnight Blue. What were we talking about? This Midnight Blue.
I don't know. We got to get these
poster.
more.
The Mamas and the Poster. The Mamas and the Papas poster, probably.
Oh, maybe. Yeah. Was that just a recent one? Glad he liked that.
I figured out actually how to get the comments to pop up automatically. I figured it out sort of.
I think that'd be cool.
I have to work on that. Keep working on that. Yeah. But there's one more thing that I'll just set the stage for next time. You have to take a couple weeks off, right? You're going on the river.
I am going on the river on Friday. I am going on the Yampa. It's about a 75-mile stretch. And I'm going out with some friends for 6 nights camping, 2 days driving on either side. So really 5 nights proper, or 5 days proper on the river. So I will be gone because it's my summer vacation. And I've got some boat time coming up. I'm going to go do some freezing cold Colorado surf boating, boat surfing. I don't know how you say it, but wetsuit, get behind a boat, 58-degree
Water skiing,
Colorado. No, you don't ski. It's a surf thing. You're closer to the back of the boat, special boat.
wakeboarding.
Anyway, no, it's called surfing. You surf, boat surf.
Oh, without the string, without the rope.
Listen, I just figured out how to get
I
up
saw you
and
do it. I saw
this.
a video of you do
Yeah,
it. It's
yeah.
impressive. Very, very
Yeah,
impressive.
it's
Yeah.
super fun. So I have some stuff coming up, but I'll be back, I think, around the 12th. And then we can get back to business after that and do a few
Okay.
things. I'm around for the next few weeks after that. And then I go see Phish in Texas at the end of June. I'm
Oh,
going on Gay Fish tour.
what day of the week is that show? Do you know? Why
Ooh.
Texas?
Why?
Yeah.
I've never been to Austin. I will say that's one of the things that's really fun with Phish is like I've been to so many places I've never been to with great friends who love to eat, drink, be merry, go to museums, enjoy the city, whatever. My favorite gang is the Gay Fish Tour gang. And so I'm going out and yeah, we're going to go to Texas because I could get great seats and because I think it'll be fun to be in an indoor show for a couple nights and sort of be more of like a viewer before Folsom Field, which is going to be enormous and everybody will be on the floor and it's like white lights in your face all night. It's just a different way to see the band. So that's, and plus it's like crack. It's just like I want more. I want more live Phish. I love the live Phish experience.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. Yeah. So, that's
There's
what's
I
happening.
looked at plane tickets yesterday, actually.
For Folsom,
I did.
I've got a place for you to stay, Brian. Come on.
I
Oh,
did look at
Lord.
plane tickets. I
I'll
really
pick
want
you
to go
up
to
at
it.
the airport. I will like make a whole, we can keep
The
it low
thing is
key, but
that
I will prioritize you as a visitor on our crew. I got a bike for
right.
you to ride. Like, let's go. I'll hold
Well,
your
we'll
hand the
see.
whole, you're not allowed to walk away.
It's probably not going to happen, but I'm trying to see if it's actually feasible. And I looked at it and I was quite surprised to find out, oh, look at that. I thought they were going to be triple the price that they were. And I was like, oh, that's actually not,
Brian,
that's doable. It's kind of doable.
if
I mean, it's
you
my
make
alma
it,
mater.
listen,
I
I'll
like
say
want to go
this.
see Phish at freaking CU. That's
Yeah, you
amazing.
do. If you come here, I will buy your Phish tickets for the run.
Okay.
Or
Yeah,
like
that's
we'll have a little kick down in the friends or whatever. I'm sure we could
no,
could
that's real
do
nice.
the jam. Think about it. Come on,
Yeah,
let's
I really would
go.
love to. It would be amazing. It would be like a trip of a lifetime. But it's
The
funny to
last
say
time
that. Oh,
we
a
saw
Phish, a
Phish
Folsom. I know it's
together
kind
was
of.
Vegas 2000. We have not seen a Phish show since. It's 25 almost years.
Oh my
And
god.
YOLO, you only live once,
YOLO.
or YOLI, you only live infinitely, but you should probably tap back in. I like the YOLI.
I mean, it seems manageable. That seems more manageable than a city I don't know. And I mean, like, I don't know. It's a little bit, to be honest, like it's a little, I kind
Daunting?
of relate. I relate to this author who's like, I admit, like, if you unplug, even if you're a hardcore head, if you unplug from the thing, it's a little daunting. Yes, to come back to it. It is, there's something
Well,
that's
you
a
have
little bit,
comfort in your couch tour, and you probably have
yeah,
your own sort of private rituals that
yeah,
orient you to be an active listener on couch tour. I would be shocked if you didn't. I know you
yeah.
listen to everything, but
I have an image of Phish with my feet in front of myself. I'm
mm-hmm.
sitting on the couch with my feet on the table, and that's with my Fishman socks. I've got my Phish socks on. So
Cute.
yeah. Okay. Well, I would do. There's one last thing that I want to maybe touch on. I got an article that Michael and I have been talking about for quite a while, and I think
Ooh.
well, we kind of come back to it frequently, and it's called Grateful Dead concerts are like baseball games.
Oh,
Never
yes, I saw that in our doc. Yeah.
right. So it's a short piece, but it talks about how um if you love a sports team, if you love a baseball game, you love keeping stats, you love to know about players, you like to play fantasy football or whatever these things are. I don't really know much about them, but if you have a team that you follow and that they're your team and that you die hard to the end, no matter how the season went, you can talk shit about them and you can hope that they trade somebody and fire the manager and get this year is the rebuilding year. That's there's something about that in loving the Grateful Dead, this guy postulates, and I want to suggest that it's also true of Phish. So this is something I'm looking forward to reading on a future Read Icculus. Short, but something to get us going. And your Rob Mitchum, who is Rob Mitchum. I love that we have a guy he's like Robert Mitchum. Just saying, it's funny.
Howie says, "Get your ass to Folsom."
Hold on, is
my
Howie
text
listening,
thread.
dude?
No,
Oh, dude,
he just texted me. Come on, Howie, we want to do soft shoe with Brian. Hell yeah,
oh my
let's go,
God,
Brian.
I love Howie so much. He's so
Oh,
cool.
he's in for the whole time. We're gonna.
You know what I love about Howie is like I cannot see the guy. I cannot be in the guy's presence without getting a hit of that smile. I cannot, like he has one of the most contagious smiles of anybody I know.
Yeah.
He's just it's like beaming, it's a beaming smile. I love that about Howie.
Yeah, the Rubens beam. The Rubens got some heat, that's for sure. They're really fun. They're a fun gang to see shows with. And
well, you just said earlier, Brad. You said at your camp, you said, oh, the guys in the lockers down the street from me were Matt and Dave Rubin. Did you say that?
I did. There's a lot of Rubens in the world.
Yeah, I know, but the guy that introduced me to Howie is Matt and Dave.
Oh,
and yeah, and I picked up on that. I didn't mention it, but I was like, that's weird. I wonder if that's just like yeah. Those were the New Yorkers that I set this up
waves coming in from the ocean of love, and the wind is the music, Brian. You know what's cool about Folsom, depending on where you are in the big stadium, oh God, it's going to be gorgeous. July 4th, the sky is going to fade to black so slowly, and the mountains are just going to be like in that sunset glow all through the show. Maybe not from the floor. From the floor, you're just going to get white lights in your face. But it is going to be so beautiful. It probably won't be raining in the afternoon by then. It will be warm. You could stroll to the show. You ride your bike. It is going to be a glorious time in Boulder.
I would love to go. Well, the thing is that my kid wants to get to the States this summer. And I was thinking about how do I drop them off and get them all the way there. Yeah, my daughter wants to go. So
let's go.
I said to my mom, I was like, "Hey, would you want to take her for this? She wants to come for an extended stay. Would you take her?" And she said, "Yeah." Would she come by herself? And yeah, she'd maybe, or I could drop her off.
Drop her.
And she said, "Well, you could go to Colorado." I was like, "Oh, I could go to Colorado."
Yes. See, Lynn is on your side, and I will tell Lynn. Yes. Sorry,
I know, but then I have to forfeit the freaking mobile.
That's okay.
The psychedelic. No, I know. There's a lot of things I want to do.
I know but I will hold your hand the whole time. I won't let you go anywhere.
No, it's not about that. It's I want to. No. I'm talking about the motorcycle site, the psychedelic cycle, the psychedelic. I got another big project that I want to do this summer.
Motorcycle.
I'm not that nervous about. I'm not that nervous about going to a Phish show, but although that's another thing that she doesn't really touch on. You go to these shows and people are freaked out, and I did not miss that at all whatsoever.
I think that it is markedly less so 25 years or 15 years after Tracer Bright. Yes, I do. I think that there, yes, 100%.
compare.
People are
I'd like
freaky, but it's not how it used to be. And there's so much more just like open heart, kind brother and sister,
that equally does
ease.
not quite appeal to
No,
me,
there's yeah,
I
you'll
don't know if I like the, anyway.
whatever. Deb says I agree. That's right. Love and light for everybody if you
Wait,
want it.
who are you talking to? Are you got another conversation going
I'm
on? Tell them
I
to,
broadcast from my phone, so Deb and Howie are texting me, and I just see the text
are they
popping up. I
here
know
watching the thing? You
they
guys
are watching. No, but
get
they're
in
not
on the
doing the
chat.
chat.
Get in on the chat so we can all
Come
mix it
on,
up together.
Rubens. They
Yeah,
maybe they don't
Rubens,
have a YouTube account. They like being
do you
anonymous.
have to have a YouTube? Everybody's got a freaking Google
I
account.
don't
Come
know,
on.
Bri. I don't know. You have to
Wait,
be
wait.
signed in to comment.
Okay, so Howie, and then who else? Deb?
His
Deb
wife,
who? Deb
Deb.
Delman? Oh,
No,
his wife,
Deb
Deb.
Rubin.
Okay,
Yeah, she's
okay.
amazing. You love her. We had Jack
Uh,
Popeye. We have
my
4D
God.
Man. We had your
40 man was
buddy
in the house.
who
Yvonne from
Yvonne.
Norway. We had Chauncey was in the house. Oh, Nathan Gray, Tulsa dude was here. Nathan Gray. Nathan, I watched your video of Tulsa sculptures. It's really cool. I think we're trying to stall. I think we've got 18 more minutes to 3 hours.
No, we should get we need people to watch these in retrospect. We're just murmuring. 4D D D
What's
D.
the one? I saw it again. That's not the one I was thinking of.
It is called
In your
a
mind.
song.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
mine. All right, Bri.
all right.
It's been wonderful hanging out with you.
It's always a pleasure, Anne. I
Yeah,
really dig hanging out with you. It's so
fun
fun. And
times.
I don't, yeah, you don't have my wife said to me once, like, because we don't speak the same language, you have to like listen harder to each other.
Hmm.
It's a trope. It's not real. It's not really real. But people say that to sort of convince themselves that they can exist in an international bilingual
Okay.
relationship. But there is something to be said about the individual connections you forge with people, and that whatever it is that makes that connection taut, 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 I think, if that's how you spell it, is like,
Yes.
um I not to get super sentimental, but I care about you a lot, and I'm this camaraderie over this band is like, it's very meaningful.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel you on that. I talk with myself a lot about Phish.
Mm.
And I have my posse I go to Phish with, but you and I geek in
I
a
don't know
sort
what
of
it is. Yeah.
historic and contextual way that is like rabid enough for me to see myself in your rabidness. It's like namaste, but it's like the rabid fish fan in me sees and bows to the rabid fish fan in you, in these sort of like
That's hilarious.
weird kind of I don't know, swirly ways or something.
My
Um
brain went immediately to like, what would be the Phish equivalent of a namaste? And I thought gayute.
That's funny. Maybe we should think on that a little bit.
Gayute.
We gotta think about some
it's
like
just
Sanskrit translation for that, and maybe like a little. Maybe that's our next season 2's imagery is Gayute. The rabid fish fan in me deeply salutes and sees the rabid fish fan in you.
okay.
Gayute. Shalom. That's funny.
Let's make that a thing. Let's see if we can get somewhere with that. Maybe not that one, but that's not bad. But
Nah, Gayute.
okay.
We'll workshop that one.
Well, have a good
offline.
time on the river. Be safe, please. And
Thank you.
we'll
Thank you. I'm gonna do
let's
my
see if we
best.
we can build up some articles. If you enjoyed this and you had fun, or you're watching this on the replay, I can't believe you fucking made it this far, but you're a hero. Leave a comment on what you thought about it. I mean, tell us how much you don't like the band, or give us something to riff on. Just give us something to like to pick apart, to chew on. And if you know of a good thing to read, whether it's Phish related or not, maybe drop a comment. And if you there was the suggestion that we have like a we're having like guests come up here, but let's keep going the way that we're going, but let's think about like close out the thing with a party, and let's get a bunch of people on stage, and like let's have a think about that too.
Oh, that's fun. Well, maybe next time we'll schedule thinking about Edwin coming on, because he can pop in for a bit here.
Yeah,
And
that'd be amazing.
I think it'd be really fun to have Karauchi on. We should get Jamie
for
J.
sure.
Maybe we should get the two of them. They can regale us. Yeah, there's a lot more to come, friends. More to come. We're not going to stop.
Even if it's let's just do it for ourselves.
Just us viewers too. Replay 7. But,
oh my god! I didn't scroll all the way down. Okay, wait. Stephen McElwain is here. What's up, dude? And Howie Rubin in the
there
house.
We go. We got Howie.
Nice,
Saw you, Howie, with his electric smile.
Okay, and Deb Rubin also here. Okay, figured it out.
Thanks,
you
guys.
Are amazing, Brian. Can't wait to meet you. Yeah, I mean, a friend, or I shouldn't say a spouse. The spouse of a Rubin is no, that just doesn't work.
Is a friend of
Howie's is a friend of mine.
Yeah. That's
okay.
Amazing.
Gayute.
Till we meet again.
All right. Have a good one. Thanks for being here.
Love you,
See everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Okay, see you.
Gayute.